Alpha Renard has been a looming shadow throughout my life, someone I've had only fleeting encounters with. He's visited the house many times, but my parents always sent me to my room, not wanting to parade their shame in front of him. Today is different. Today, he sits across from me at the dinner table, his presence suffocating as my mother serves him a meal Phoenix brought home from town. She apologizes profusely, her voice a hum of nervous energy. Everyone's gaze seems to fix on me, the silent center of attention. I can feel Dad and Phoenix's fury burning holes into my skin, but I keep my eyes trained on my plate. There's no point in looking at them, no point in ruining what little appetite I have left. Alpha Renard is every bit the imposing figure I remember. Towering well over 6 feet, his muscular build speaks of years of combat and dominance. His brown hair is trimmed to perfection, his face clean-shaven, save for the deep claw marks that mar his cheek. Shifters don't scar easily. He likes to show them off. Like all alphas, he exudes an aura of authority that demands obedience. But it's his eyes, cold, cruel, calculating, that have me gripping my fork tightly to stop my hands from trembling. Alexander, Renard's gruff voice shatters the tense silence, making me jump. What happened to your daughter's face? My father clears his throat, his voice tight and strained. She has grown willful since her time outside the pack. It requires discipline to correct such behavior. A shiver crawls down my spine, leaving a chill in its wake. I risk a glance at Renard, only to find his features darkening, something sinister flickering behind his expression. I'll take care of it, he says. The words send a jagged spike of terror through my chest. His gaze shifts back to me, pinning me like prey. So Ava, he drawls, voice laced with dark curiosity. Why has the Aspen pack taken such an interest in you? My throat tightens, the words caught there like barbed wire. I can sense the challenge in his question. They know. But how much? Lie, it's the only option. I don't know, I say carefully, my voice soft but steady. I was in a car with some rogue shifters they were chasing. I got hurt, and they treated me as an apology. It's mostly true, but the twitch in Renard's jaw tells me he isn't buying it. Is it my scent? Or does he already know the truth? My stomach churns violently as I stab at a roasted potato, shoving it into my mouth and chewing slowly, methodically. If I'm eating, maybe he'll leave me alone. He doesn't. Ava, Renard continues, voice smoother now, almost coaxing. We know you're an Omega. The Aspen Alpha forced you into mating, didn't he? We'll fight back to restore your freedom. We're family here. You can talk to us. His words are a silken trap, promising freedom while tightening the noose. Omega, I nearly choke. My hands tremble, and I clench my fists under the table. No, I say, shaking my head. I don't have a pack designation. I'm not an Omega. The table rattles as Renard slams his fist down. I flinch hard, curling in on myself instinctively. Don't lie to me, girl, he snarls, his voice a whip crack of rage. We know about your heat. How you threw yourself at the Aspen Alpha, begging him to mate you. My father's voice cuts through the tension, cold and sharp. You're an embarrassment to the Blackwood pack, Ava. Anger surges, momentarily overpowering the fear in my chest. Wait, I say, my voice trembling but fierce. You're saying I threw myself at him, but you also claim he forced me. Which is it? What's the truth? Renard's eyes narrow, his jaw tight. Watch your tone, girl, he snaps, voice low and dangerous. You forget your place. I lower my gaze, biting the inside of my cheek to stay quiet. Confronting him won't help me escape. Still, I hate how small I feel under his scrutiny. My mother's clipped voice breaks the silence. Ava, go to your room. We have matters to discuss with Alpha Renard. I hesitate. I want to be far from this table, far from him, but leaving means I won't hear what they're planning. Go, Renard rumbles. He leans forward and grasps my hand. The gesture might look comforting, but his touch makes my skin crawl. My stomach lurches as his thumb brushes over the back of my hand, lingering far too long. Don't worry your pretty little head about these matters, Ava, he says. It's the first time he's used my name, and the sound of it from his mouth turns my blood to ice. His calculating stare pins me in place. You're safe now. I'll save you from the Aspen Alpha. I yank my hand away as politely as I can without drawing further anger, but my heart is pounding in my ears. My parents' faint smiles make it worse, their approval like a sick betrayal. Phoenix holds my gaze for the first time all evening, a silent warning in his eyes. Don't provoke him. But as I rise and turn toward the stairs, one thing is clear. I'm not safe here. I'm not safe anywhere. And I have to get out before it's too late. This is insane. This can't be happening, ***. I pace my room, my feet carrying me back and forth as I chew at my nail, thoughts racing a mile a minute. Alpha Renard's sons are dead, all three of them. I don't know how the first two died, but the third fell in a skirmish with rogue wolves years ago. Since then, no pregnancy has made it to term for him, no new heir has been born. That's how Phoenix ended up here. Brought in as the heir, his alpha-level strength making him the obvious choice. But Alpha Renard has lovers. Lots of them. Dad and Phoenix have mentioned it before, how Phoenix can't let himself act like the alpha just yet. Renard's still trying. Still searching for an heir. And now it's me. My stomach lurches at the implications, my thoughts spiraling. If he knows I'm an Omega, by birth by nature, then I'm the perfect candidate. Omegas carry pups more easily, don't they? That's the whole reason they're bred. I feel sick, bile rising in my throat. Is that why Todd and his cronies never laid a hand on me? Because they knew? Or because Alpha Renard already had plans of his own? Fuck. Footsteps pound down the hallway, and I whirl toward the door, my body instinctively bracing itself, hands raised like I can defend myself against whatever, or whoever, comes through. It's just Phoenix. Relief is short-lived as he sweeps into the room, his lip curling like my defensive stance is some joke. Before I can say a word, he grabs me, spins me around, and throws me onto the bed. The back of my head slams into the wall. My knee hits the bed frame hard. Pain blooms through me, sharp and unforgiving. Asterisk, what the hell, Phoenix? Asterisk, I sputter, rolling to face him. But he's already on top of me, pinning me down with a hand to my shoulder and his weight pressing into my leg. I stare up at him, breath catching. For a heartbeat, I think he might actually hurt me. I'm not going to hurt you, he growls, low and feral. The sound sends a shiver straight down my spine, but somehow, I believe him. I go still, forcing my body to relax, waiting for whatever this is. Phoenix's sharp gaze searches mine, his eyes hard. You have a wolf, don't you? No. The lie falls quickly, easily. I'll die before admitting it. Then how did you go into heat? I don't know. My voice is steady flat. They assumed I had a wolf, but I don't. You think I'd still be here if I did? I would have shifted and run. That hits him hard, his hand flexing against my shoulder before he lets go. I sit up immediately, jerking my leg free from his weight with a glare. Cut the shit, he snaps. Are you really an Omega? I freeze. His voice is tight, and I can see it now. This isn't about me. This is about him. If Renard gets me pregnant, any child I bear will outrank Phoenix as heir. That's why he's here. He's trying to protect his position. I grip my arm, ducking my head, letting some of the fear I feel bleed out. No, I say softly, because it's the truth. There's nothing for him to scent as a lie. I risk a glance up, watching him. A flicker of hope ignites in my chest. Can I use this? If Phoenix sees me as a threat to his place, maybe I can leverage that, use his fear to keep myself safe. But I can't push too hard. He's still loyal to Renard. I don't know why they're saying that, I whisper. My voice shakes as I continue, my body trembling just enough to sell it. Alpha Renard wanted me to become a breeder. That's why I ran. Phoenix stills. How do you know that? Todd told me, I say, lowering my head further, as though ashamed. My heart pounds in my chest like a war drum. I trail off, letting the memory of Todd speak for itself. I couldn't stay here after that. Phoenix grunts, his expression flickering between irritation and thoughtfulness. I keep my gaze down, hiding my face as I weave half-truths with lies. I tell him I have no wolf, that I faked my way through everything in the Aspen pack, that the heat caught me off guard. I tell him I just wanted to be alone. A quiet life away from all of this. It's true. Technically. And I tell him how Todd's intentions, how Renard's plans, were too much. Phoenix's face gives nothing away. His fingers twitch, flexing around my bruised knee, and I wince. You'd better hope you can't breed, he growls finally, his voice a low warning. If Renard gets his claws into you, your life is over. The words should sound like concern, but I can't tell. Is he worried about me, or himself? His hand releases me, and I pull my knee away, cradling it against my chest. I don't respond, there's nothing to say. Phoenix rises to his feet, staring down at me like he's trying to figure me out. For a moment, I almost see a flicker of the brother he used to be. But it's gone too quickly. He turns and leaves without another word, the door slamming shut behind him. I release a shaky breath, my chest heaving as I hug my knees to my chest. My mind races, the implications stacking higher and higher like bricks around me. Phoenix might not be my ally, but he's not Alpha Renard either. And for now, that's enough. But I need to get out of here. Before it's too late.
Hey everyone, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy the audiobooks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support us further, consider becoming a Patreon member. As a member, you'll gain the ability to request the next part of a novel audiobook I've uploaded, depending on your Patreon tier.
The next few days are agonizing. 1. There are shifters outside my house every hour of the day. Mom and Dad have disappeared doing. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing. Phoenix was never around much to begin with, so I'm not surprised that I don't see him. It occurs to me that I haven't seen Jessa even once since I've been home, but again, not really surprised. It isn't like we were ever close. So I pace in my childhood home, trapped, with no idea what's coming next, building nightmare after nightmare of assumptions in my mind. Sometimes I catch Celine's show on TV and watch that. Other times I watch the news, a habit I've gotten used to since working at the novel grind. Mrs. Elkins often had it on in the background. It's amazing how sheltered I was from the human world, even when living in it. I see why Dad never let 12:43. Less than 63 Ava, Homecoming, v. Me watch the news. It's enlightening to see how things are outside of the views of your pack. I always knew they were a little outdated. After being in the Aspen territory, I've learned that my family pack is barely out of the dark ages. Now that my eyes have been opened, there are so many details I can pick out that are just wrong. The fact that I had a phone at all was a miracle. Of course, I bought it with my own money. Jessa begged Dad for one when she was 21, and he relented. But so many women in the pack don't have a cell phone at all. My dad is sometimes considered a little too lenient on his women. Except for me, of course. There's also the fashion. Married wolves don't go out much, and don't have jobs. They're stuck at the mercy of their mates, if their mate has any at all. I never see a man alone with his child. At the novel grind, I would often see a father come in with his child, looking for a book or having them read while they do their work. It's a scene I've never seen at home. 63 Ava, Homecoming, v. Occasionally at Beaniverse, yes, but I don't think I ever really noticed it then. It's amazing what a few months of freedom will do for you. I think of Mrs. Elkins and Carlos and Franklin. Of Clayton and Ivy. Of Lucas. I wonder if they're still thinking about me. If they're worried. How long they'll stay worried for, and when they'll give up on me. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to escape. I just don't know how quickly I can do it. No matter how much I rack my brain, I don't know how to get anywhere without money. I suppose I could just run on foot, but I can't shift. They'd catch me within hours. The only way to escape is with a car. Or a bus ticket. Or a plane. Hell, I'd take a boat, if we weren't in the middle of the country. A knock on the door interrupts my pacing, and I frown. 12:43. 63 Ava, Homecoming, v. As the door opens without waiting for a response. Alpha Renard strides in, smiling sweetly, but the look is all wrong, his eyes too calculating, his face too smarmy, his voice like poison to the little happiness I've managed to store within my soul. Ava, my dear, he croons, reaching out to touch my arm. I fight the urge to recoil. I trust you're settling back and comfortably? My throat feels tight, but I manage a nod, keeping my expression neutral. Renard's gaze rakes over me, and I resist the instinct to cover myself, even though I'm fully dressed. There's something predatory in the way he looks at me that makes my skin crawl. There's no desire there, only a sick assumption of possession. Good. He nods, squeezing my arm. I wanted to discuss a few things with you, now that you've had some time to readjust. I swallow hard, bracing myself for whatever twisted scheme he has in store. What did you want to discuss? Renard's smile widens, and he guides me toward the couch, his grip firm enough that I can't pull away. 12:43. 63 Ava, Homecoming, v. Without causing a scene. Please have a seat. This might take a while. Exclusive content copyright by No, V, L/dr/AMA.org. Obediently, I perch on the edge of the cushions, my number 25. Hands folded in my lap to hide their trembling. Renard settles beside me, entirely too close for my liking, but I force myself to remain still. You see, Ava, he begins, his tone deceptively gentle, your situation is unique to say the least. A woman of your age, unmated and unshifted, it's quite the conundrum. You have no direction, no purpose. These are all things you need to get your mind off your lack of a wolf. He clicks his tongue, his gaze hardening just a bit. And then there's the matter of your recent dalliances. My heart pounds in my ears, but I keep my expression blank, giving him no reaction to latch onto. Renard studies me for a moment, then continues. The Aspen pack is known for their unorthodox views. Their willingness to consort with humans, to let their females run wild. It's no wonder you were drawn to them, in your confused state. And yet look at the lies they give. Their own alpha took advantage of you in your weakened state, instead of protecting you.
He. 1243. 63 Ava, Homecoming, v.
Leans closer, his breath hot against my cheek.
But you're home now, Ava.
Safe with your family where you belong. I want to protest, to spit venom back at him, but I bite my tongue. Getting on Renard's bad side would only make things worse for me in the long run. I know you've been through a lot, he murmurs, his hand settling on my knee.
I tense, but don't pull away. But I want to help you, Ava.
I want to guide you back to your rightful place, to help you embrace your true nature. His hand slides higher, inching up my thigh, and I fight back a shudder of revulsion. You have so much potential, my dear. With the right guidance, you could be an asset to our pack. A true Omega, prized and protected dash. I'm not an Omega, I interrupt, unable to stay silent any longer. Renard's hand clamps over my mouth, his fingers digging deep into my cheeks and cutting off my words. His eyes blaze with fury, and I shrink back, my heart hammering.
63 Ava, Homecoming, v.
Do not, he hisses, his face mere inches from mine, lie.
To me.
He releases me, and I gasp for air, cradling my aching
face. No more talk, he growls.
You are a daughter of the Blackwood pack, and you will do as I say.
Am I clear?
Terror clogs my throat, but I force myself to nod, not daring to provoke him further. Renard stares at me for a long moment, then turns on his heel and strides out, slamming the door behind him. His pretense of gentility had lasted for all of 10
seconds.
Hot water scalds my hands as I scrub dishes in mindless monotony.
Anger, fear, despair.
They all churn together in a toxic mix that threatens to drown.
1. Me. I have to stay strong, stay focused. Alpha Renard has
made his intentions clear. The plates clatter against each other as I rinse them, the sound almost therapeutic in its familiarity. This is what my life has been reduced to, cleaning up after my family, tiptoeing around their expectations, their rules, their control. A mere shadow in my own home. Muted voices drift in from the other room, and it's impossible not to overhear the tense exchange between Phoenix and my father. Even more reports of rogues crossing the border. Phoenix growls, his voice laced with anger. We can't let them encroach on our territory. My father's response is quieter, but no less stern. Have you confirmed the sightings? This has to be done carefully, or else the council can intervene.
64 Ava, Homecoming, 6.
We can't afford to be complacent, Phoenix snaps. What does the council have to do with rogues? Every pack has the right to deal with rogues as they wish. My confusion has me straining my ears to hear more.
Easy, son.
My father's tone is placating, but there's an undercurrent of steel beneath it.
Just handle this discreetly.
As long as we're only touching the rogues, no one can do anything. They're just learning from our game. As long as there's no evidence, the council can't
touch us.
That means the council can't touch them, either, Phoenix growls.
All in due time.
We just have to wait a little longer, and everything will be set. It would have been better if Jessa had managed to stay there. She didn't, so there's little point in worrying about it. Phoenix scoffs, and I can practically see the contemptuous twist of his lips. Westwood sent her back as a challenge. Lucas is getting bolder.
We should respond. 1244. 64 Ava, Homecoming, 6.
My heart stutters at the mention of that name. Memories of intense golden eyes and searing touches flooding my senses.
Lucas.
If I can somehow get word to him, would he?
It's possible.
He's sorry for how he treated me. But are his apologies enough to put my hopes on him for an escape plan? Either way, it's better than relying on Phoenix. That's the least of our concerns right now, my father rumbles. We need to focus on securing the borders. There's a pause, and then Phoenix speaks again, his voice low and dangerous. What about the Aspen pack? You don't think they're involved in this somehow? Isn't it odd that Ava was found there, right after Lucas was seen with her in the garden? My breath catches in my throat, and I strain to hear my father's response, my hands stilling in the soapy water.
They knew about that?
Is that why they suddenly began looking for me?
To use me against him?
Westwood and Aspen get along well, Dad says grimly.
1244. 64 Ava, Homecoming, 6. But we need to keep Ava with us.
She's our card to neutralize Aspen. Once she's mated to the Alpha, it will lend legitimacy to our petition.
A knot forms in my stomach.
There are too many eyes between Blackwood and Westwood to ever reach. Lucas, and even Clayton isn't an option. More, they're planning the mating between me and Alpha Renard. Aspen can't move without the council's approval. Because Ava is our pack, we can argue that Aspen kidnapped her. It's easy enough to neutralize them as a threat. So keep your focus on Westwood, and don't worry about them. I'm surprised to see Jessa lounging on the couch the next morning when I venture downstairs. The house is eerily quiet, devoid of the usual bustle of my family's presence. It's unsettling, especially considering the events of last night. Jessa doesn't even glance up from her phone as I approach, her fingers tapping away at the screen with a single-minded focus. I hesitate, unsure of how to proceed.
12.44. Less than 64 Ava, Homecoming 6. I take a deep breath and settle onto the couch near her, careful to maintain a respectful distance. Hey Jess, I venture, my voice sounding too loud and unnatural. How have you been? She doesn't respond immediately, and for a moment, I wonder if she even heard me. But then with a sigh, she lowers her phone and turns to face me, her blue eyes assessing. Fine, she says, her tone clipped. What do you want, Ava? The question catches me off guard, and I blink, trying to formulate a response. What do I want? I want to be free of this suffocating house, this oppressive pack. I want to find my way back to the life I've built for myself, to the people who have become my family. But I can't say any of that, not to Jessa. Not when I don't know what she's thinking. Is it possible she, too, worries about Phoenix's standing in the pack? Instead, I shrug, aiming for nonchalance. Nothing, really. Just wanted to chat, I guess. It's been a while since we've had a chance to talk, just the two of us. Jessa's gaze narrows, and I can practically see the gears turning in her head as she tries to decipher my 64 Ava, Homecoming 6. Motives. Since when do you want to talk to me? She asks, her voice laced with suspicion. I force a smile, hoping it doesn't look as strained as it feels. I know we haven't always seen eye to eye. But we're still sisters, aren't we? I just thought. I trail off, unsure of how to finish that sentence. Jessa studies me for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, with a shrug, she turns her attention back to her phone. Whatever. I'm busy, Ava. If you want to talk, find someone else. The dismissal stings, but I try not to let it show. Instead, I glance around the room, noting the absence of the usual guards. It's strange, being left alone with Jessa like this. Almost as if this is a chance. A chance to escape, to find my way back to the life I've fought so hard to build. But just as I think that, I dismiss the possibility. If it's anything, it's a test. I can't get any suspicions up right now. It's nice to have you around instead of the other shifter, I offer, triving another olive branch. 12.44. 64 Ava, Homecoming 6, Content Copyright Novel Drama, Org 2024. Jessa ignores me. I heard Dad and Phoenix talking last night. I say, watching out of the side of my eye as her fingers slow. Then still. They said I'm going to be mated to Alpha Renard. She looks at me, her face blank. So? You should be grateful to have such an honor as a defect. I lower my eyes, but keep her in my peripheral vision. I'm worried about Phoenix. If I'm really this Omega they keep talking about, what if I give Alpha Renard an heir? Wouldn't that be bad for Phoenix? For us. Jessa watches me for a long time, before returning her attention to the phone in her hands. Don't think so. Much, Ava. I let out a little sigh, but inside, I feel the faint stirrings of triumph. There's a slight quaver in her voice, and she's pushing on her screen harder than she had been just a minute earlier. Yeah, Phoenix and Jessa have always been close. If I want to escape, I'm going to need them to be on my side. Phoenix stops by not long after I give up talking to Jessa, letting my words germinate in her mind. It's lunch, and I don't do much, just throwing together some simple sandwiches and some vegetables that are left over from last night's dinner. I watch Phoenix enter the room, my heart picking up speed. He gives me a curt nod before settling into the chair across from me and Jessa. There's a tightness around his eyes that I recognize. He's troubled about something. Finally, Phoenix sets his food down and leans back in his chair, his gaze flickering between Jessa and me. I need to talk to you both about something. Jessa raises an eyebrow, her expression carefully neutral. About what? Phoenix hesitates, and for a moment, I think he's going to brush it off. But then he lets out a heavy sigh. About Ava and this whole Omega situation. 12.45. 65 Ava, Homecoming 7, Season 1 Yendi. My breath catches in my throat. This is it. What about it? Jessa asks, her voice sharp. Phoenix's jaw tightens. I don't like it. If Renard gets an heir out of her, everything I've worked for will be gone. I'll still be beta when Dad's gone, but I've worked too hard for this to go away just because Ava shoots some kid out from between her legs. Relief floods through me, and I have to resist the urge to reach out and take his hand. Finally, someone in this family is on my side. Well, he's on his own side, but right now that's my side. Number 1. What do you expect us to do about it? Jessa's tone is dismissive, but I can see the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. Phoenix leans forward, his gaze intense. If Ava isn't here, he can't mate her. Yes. Yes. But Jessa's shaking her head. Dad will just send you after her again. Don't be stupid. We need a more permanent solution. 12.45. 65 Ava, Homecoming, 7, Season 1 Yendi. Damn it. Hope was given life and snuffed out within a moment. Phoenix opens his mouth, but Jessa cuts him off with a wave of her hand. Besides, we have time. Ava hasn't had her period yet. Phoenix's brow furrows in confusion. What does that have to do with anything? Jessa rolls her eyes. It means she could have the Aspen heir in her womb, you moron. Renard won't mate her until he knows it's clear. The blood drains from my face as the realization hits me. She's right, if I'm pregnant with Clayton's child, Renard won't touch me. At least, not until he can force me to abort it. Or until they give birth and use the baby as a pawn. My hand drops to my stomach, and I swallow hard. Could I be? No, it's too soon to tell. But the thought sends a shiver of fear down my spine. If I am pregnant, it buys me time. Time to figure out a way to escape, to get back to the Aspen Pack and Clayton. But it also means I'm carrying a child. 12:45. 65 Ava, Homecoming, 7, Season 1 Yendi. That will be caught in the middle of this war between packs. I squeeze my eyes shut, trying to push the thought away. One problem at a time. First, I need to get out of here. Then I can worry about the rest. I try to keep my face impassive as Phoenix and Jessa argue, but it's difficult to hide my discomfort as they talk about me like I'm not even there. If she has to stay here, then we need to prove she's not an Omega, Phoenix insists, his jaw clenched tight. If we can do that, then Renard has no reason to keep her around. I can't help but scoff. As if Renard needs a reason to torment me. Even if I'm not the Omega he wants, I'm still going to be used as a breeder. My fate doesn't change then, only Phoenix's. Still, I know this is my chance to try and sway them to my side. I'm definitely not an Omega, I interject, my voice firm. Jessa barks out a harsh laugh, her eyes glinting with cruel amusement. And how the hell would anyone prove that, genius? It's not like there's a test for it. My heart sinks as I realize she's right. There's no way. 65 Ava, Homecoming, 7, Season 1 Yendi. To definitively prove whether I'm an Omega or not. It was all speculation off my heat. I'm not an Omega, and no one believes me. Well, we have to do something, Phoenix growls, his hands clenching into fists on the table. I'm not going to let everything I've worked for be taken away just because Ava can't keep her legs closed. White, hot anger flares in my chest at his words, and I have to bite my tongue to keep from lashing out. As if I had any choice in the matter. Maybe we should just kill her, Jessa muses, her tone casual as if she's discussing the weather. That would solve the problem, wouldn't it? Kill me? My heart stutters, and I can feel the blood draining from my face. She can't be serious. But one look at her cold, calculating expression tells me that she is. My own sister is contemplating murdering me, all to protect her own interests. I open my mouth, desperate to defend myself, but Phoenix cuts me off with a shake of his head. No, we can't do that, he says, his voice low. Renard would never forgive us for killing his only chance at an 12:45. 5-8. 65 Ava, Homecoming, 7, Season 1 Yendi. He's crazed for one. I've always only been his second best option. We need to find another way. Relief and fear war within me as I realize that, for now at least, my life is safe. But the fact that they're even discussing this, that they're so willing to discard me like a piece of trash, cuts me to the core. These are my siblings, my own flesh and blood. I've been betrayed by them, abused by them, neglected and dismissed. And yet, it still hurts. I swallow hard, forcing down the lump of emotion that threatens to choke me. Instead, I lift my chin and meet Jessa's gaze head on, refusing to back down or show any weakness. You're right, I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil raging inside me.
There's no way to prove whether I'm an Omega or not. But what you're forgetting is that it doesn't matter. Jess's eyebrows rise skeptically, but I press on, determined to make them see reason. Whether I'm an Omega or not, Renard is going to use me however he sees fit. He doesn't care about any of us, not really. We're just pawns to him, pieces on a. 1245 C0 intent copyright 2024, N/O Veldrama org. 65 Ava, Homecoming, 7, Season 1 Yendi. Chessboard to be sacrificed or protected as he pleases. Phoenix shifts in his seat, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face.
Good, I've struck a nerve.
The only way any of us are going to get out of this unscathed is if we work together, I continue, holding both of their gazes. We need to stop fighting each other and start fighting him. The words hang heavy in the air, and for a moment, no one speaks. Then Phoenix sighs and stands up, turning to Jessa. We'll figure it out later.
Okay.
They're willing to go against his wishes, but not stand up against him yet.
Jessa's right. I have time.
I just need to bide it carefully.
Thank you.
All for supporting me through the first season of Timu.
Love. Lena Leah.
Creator's thought. Life at home really sucks, but I find a little solace in the fact that, for once in my life, Jessa and Phoenix are
on my side. Kind of.
I am still a little worried that Jessa's just going to stab me in my sleep, but I don't think she wants to deal with the wrath that will come with that kind of drastic
measure.
I'm pretty sure she's keeping it as an option, but I don't think she's going to do it anytime soon. Thanks to Jessa's pointing out of the obvious, my stress level is somewhat reduced as I thank Clayton in my head for succumbing to his heat-driven passions. Until Alpha Renard is sure that I have no aspen pup in my womb, he's not going to touch me. I can tell he has no true desire for me. Every time he looks at me, it's with calculation. I don't think the man's capable of feeling true desire for someone like me. If our numbers were greater, I truly believe he would eradicate humans from the world instead of fighting. 66 Ava best friends are the best.
With other packs.
It doesn't keep me safe now with this ridiculous true Omega nonsense they've got in their heads, but at least I have the luck of Mother Nature on my side.
And Jessa's cell phone.
She's not thrilled about it, but sits on the couch while I wait in the kitchen, listening to the ringing as I call Lisa's phone. They shouldn't be keeping tabs on her now that I'm back, right? But even if they do, she's my only ticket out of here. Hello, her suspicious voice finally answers, after I call her 3 times in a row.
Lise, it's me. Ava. Oh my god. You're alive. You're okay.
Wait, are you okay? A laugh bubbles in my throat even as tears fill my eyes. I love Lisa so damn much. How did I ever deserve a
friend like her?
There's a lot to fill you in on, but just wait and listen.
66 Ava. Best friends are the best.
To the important stuff right now. I've been dragged back home. They caught me in Washington, where oh shit, you don't even know. I was with the Aspen pack. There's a lot to unpack there. We'll do that later. Anyway, some things happened and somehow they found out about it.
Wait. How did they find out?
I need to ask Phoenix. Like, as soon as I hang up the phone.
Ave. Sorry.
I got distracted. Anyway, they found me and brought me home. Long story short, my alpha wants to make babies with me because he thinks I
have some special womb dash.
Oh, are you an Omega? Pulling the phone away from my ear, I double-check the number on the screen. It's definitely Lisa.
How do you know about Omegas?
I watch TV, Avenue. I'm sure it's not accurate, but I kind of get it. Omegas are like super fertile and shit, right? Well, not exactly. Most of them are just called
1245. 66 Ava. Best friends are the best.
Omegas because they were chosen to breed, not
because they were meant to.
But anyway, that's not the point. Her voice crackles through the speakers with all the surety of someone who's never had to deal with the consequences of bad mouthing an alpha. So that old fart wants to fuck you.
I'm not surprised.
Everything I've heard about them is bad news bears, Ava.
What do
you need me to do? I'll do anything.
Hell, fuck this place.
Mom and Dad won't mind if I disappear for a few months. Let's disappear together. Where do I pick you up? Those tears that fill my eyes are falling now, dripping with embarrassing ease down my cheeks. You can't do anything yet. They're still worried about me. But they are going to want to make sure I'm not pregnant before doing anything.
Pregnant?
Ava, what the hell have you been doing, and with who?
Is he nice?
Does he take care of you? It's a long story. It's not what you think. Though my heart twists as I think of Clayton and how worried he must be. How long have I been here now? It feels like months, But hasn't it only been a few days?
A. 12 to 45. 66 Ava. Best friends are the best. Week?
Everything's blurring together already. I guess that's what happens when you disassociate in front of a TV.
And Lucas. It's been a long time. He must be worried.
Or maybe he's moved on.
Avenue. Ave.
Sorry, I'm here. Look, I'm going to get my shit together to run off into the sunset with you. Don't even try to tell me no. I miss you, and I'm not going to leave you here with your shitty family and your shitty pack. Why don't we try for New York?
New York?
The idea makes me smile. But then I wonder how Celine would ever find me.
There.
If she makes it here and I'm gone, how will she find
me?
Though she found Ma in the Anandok Territaruan.
12:45. 66 Ava. Best friends are the best.
She must have a way to track me.
It'll be okay. She'll find me. I take a deep breath. Okay.
We're going to need money. Don't you know someone who makes fake IDs? We're going to need some of those too.
No problem.
Do you want to go back to where you were, or do we want to lay low somewhere else? I think of Mrs. Elkins, and everyone in Cedarwood. I want to go back more than I can explain.
I can't.
Not until I know it's safe. It'll be the first place they look. Because they think I made it to Clayton. Then I'll figure out somewhere for us to go. When are we going to meet? Where?
I don't know yet.
I have to find a way to get out of here. You'd never make it onto Packlands, so I have to somehow get away first.
That's fine. I'll get cash.
Ooh, maybe I can convince Dad to get me a new car. Something they can't trace so easily. Lisa's taking this seriously, but I can hear the
excitement in her voice.
To her, running from here is
12:46. 66 Ava. Best friends are the best.
Going to be an adventure.
She doesn't understand.
She hasn't seen what I have. She doesn't know what I know. This is nothing like in the books or stories. My brother brought a gun when he came to bring me home. My sister wants to kill me. These aren't normal things good, law-abiding humans
deal with.
We'll figure it out, I say again, trying to infuse confidence into my voice. This is my sister's phone, so just save it in case I call from it again.
Your sister?
I thought she hates you. All content copyright n/.uval/dr/ama.org. Well, we're temporarily united in a common goal, I say dryly, hyper-aware of Jess's presence in the other room. I'm sure she's listening to every word. If I give any kids to our alpha, my brother's not going to be the alpha anymore.
Oh shit.
Your brother is going to be alpha? Wait, then can't we just kill the old one and let him take over?
12:46.
7 feet 9 inches.
66 Ava. Best friends are the best.
I cover the mouth of the phone, as if that's somehow going to stop Jessa from hearing what's coming out of it.
Shoo, I hiss.
You need to be careful saying things
like that.
I'm just saying it's probably what they do on TV. TV isn't real life, Lise, I groan.
Okay. I know.
But are you okay right now, Ava?
I'm fine.
I'm better than I was. Everyone's just kind of ignoring me. I'm always under guard. It's nice when Jess is here, because they aren't outside. Jess is stronger than any of the guards they've assigned to guard me. Are you going to be able to do it? Get out of there. I look in the direction of the living room. All my hopes are pinned on Jessa and Phoenix. Even if they aren't doing it for me, having them on my side, even temporarily, is my best bet by far.
Yeah. 66 Ava. Best friends are the best.
And just like that. Welcome to Season 2, wherein Ava does all sorts of things or something. Thank you all for continuing to support me.
Please enjoy. Lena Leah.
Creator's Thug. Every day that passes is a slight uptick in my stress level. Mom and Dad are never home, busy with something. I haven't seen Phoenix since the day we spoke in the kitchen. And Jessa has been less than receptive over talking about future plans with me. The fragile alliance feels like it's crackling away beneath my fingers, like old paper that disintegrates. With the faintest touch. So when Phoenix comes by without Jessa around, dismissing my guards, my heart jumps into my throat. It's hard to swallow the water I just sipped out of one of Mom's coffee mugs.
Hi. Hey.
Phoenix looks me over, rubbing his left brow in a mannerism that's new to me. They're planning the mating ceremony for next week. Mom's in charge. Oh. What else is there to say? We all knew it was coming. It's odd how peace flows through me at the
12:40.
67 Ava, their plans 1.
Announcement.
It's like my body understands that I'm either going to escape or die trying, Because there's no way in hell I'll ever let Alpha Renard near me like that. Have they sent you to the healer yet? I shake my head. I haven't heard a word about any of NovelDrama.org, owner of this content.
This?
Phoenix sits at the kitchen table, so I sit across from him, setting my glass of water aside. The tightness in my throat makes it too hard to swallow. How much do you know about the pack situation, Ava? My lips quirk up into a mocking smile. How often do you think people inform me about anything, Phoenix? He nods slightly, acknowledging my words but otherwise unmoved by them. It's just a clear indicator that he's only here for his own interests. Despite everything, he's not here to save his sister. He's not here to care about me, or what happens to me. He just wants to keep his position safe. My heart hurts, even around the walls I've built to keep it safe. 67 Ava, their plans 1. Alpha Renard sent Jessa to the Westwood Territory, under the guise of attending college. His plan was for her to mate with the Beta or another high-ranking shifter in the pack, but Westwood sent her back home, closing the boundary to all shifters from our pack. I shift uncomfortably in my seat. Was this before or after Lucas suddenly decided to come to me with apologies? All of his actions feel somehow tainted. Was it all pack politics? But Phoenix doesn't give me a moment to process as he continues. Westwood's been accusing us of attacking their wolves at the border, but all their investigation has proven is that they're being attacked by rogue wolves. Ah. Now the conversation between him and Dad makes sense. Now we have rogues encroaching on our side, attacking our scouts. The councils kept their paws off for now as there is no clear evidence of a war brewing between each pack. His brown eyes, cold like Dad's, bore into mine. That's what's kept peace here so far. 1246. Less than 67 Ava, their plans 1. This has been going on for a year or more, and we have managed to avoid any large-scale conflicts between either packs. I nod to indicate that I understand, even as I'm confused he's telling me all of this. But Westwood's aggressiveness has increased since the Lunar Gala. Why? My entire body stiffens. We have reports that you were with him in the garden, and he left in anger. What did you tell him? Ava. I shake my head. Nothing. I didn't know who he was, and he was flirting with me. Once he found out my name, he left. I hide the rest of the truth. There are things none of these people need to know. Phoenix leans back with a sigh. We had reports that Lucas had been sniffing around, trying to get information on you. Once we heard that, we put every pack in the Northwestern Territories on alert for you. We needed to find you and see what your connection was. That explains the sudden shifter presence in less than 67 Ava their plans, 1. Cedarwood. They must have been out searching. The ones in the novel grind watching me must have been trying to see if I was masking my scent, either that or I'm paranoid. Something must have happened in the garden, Ava. When you first disappeared, the Alpha told us to leave you alone, that searching for you would make us look weak. Right. That's why my family didn't look for me. I want to roll my eyes at the blatant gaslighting, but I just keep listening, wanting to know more. But when one of our scouts let us know about your interaction with the Westwood Alpha after he kicked Jessa out of the territory, things changed, and Alpha Renard developed a keen interest in bringing you back. I was in charge of it all. I even went to find your friend at your little job, and she didn't know anything. Go, Lisa. Alpha Renard is convinced that you've consorted with our enemies, Ava. He thinks they know about our plans. Are you sure you haven't let anything slip? I shake my head again, in firm denial. I didn't tell him. 67 Ava, their plans 1. Anything, Phoenix. I never got a chance. The moment he realized who I was, he turned into a different person. That much is truth, without any alteration whatsoever. Phoenix must be able to smell it on me, because he relaxes. Alpha Renard assumed you'd escaped into Westwood Territory. When even Jessa couldn't find any evidence of you there, we branched out, asking other clans to help find you. The plan was to use you to approach the council and tell them that you were taken from us without approval, in order to begin the war with the council on our side. Are you following? Yes. The blood in my veins is sluggish and cold. I was going to be a scapegoat. Yes. Alpha Renard would have made sure you told the council what he wanted you to say. I close my eyes, swallowing hard against the obstruction in my throat. Tears want to flow, but I fight them back. I would have been a prisoner here. Tortured if necessary. That's what you're saying, right? Right. And I was tasked to find you. 1246. 67 Ava, their plans 1. So he approved of it. And Mom, Dad, Jessa? They all know. Yes. His answers are clipped and cold, as though speaking to a stranger. Not to his baby sister. It isn't like I'm surprised by their disdain. It's just that I didn't realize how deep it went. I thought nothing would top the day he walked in after Todd Mason had forced me onto my knees.
I was wrong.
Why are you telling me this now? Leave the first comment for this chapter. Phoenix taps a finger against the table, watching me with a calculating gaze. You need to understand what situation you're in, Ava, at. Tap. 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 Why? His smile is mirthless. This entire pack will throw you away without a second thought. Alpha Renard will trap you in a life of misery and pain, and you will forever be a pawn in his hands.
I know.
That's why I want to escape.
You're the one who brought me here, remember?
None of this is news.
To me. Phoenix nods. Just the slightest nod.
Alpha Renard's plans changed when he received some very interesting news from the Aspen territory. He heard of an Omega with your description, with a heat so strong that even the Aspen Alpha was affected.
12.47.
68 Ava, their plans too. The glass of water is all I focus on. It's hard to look him in the face as he talks about everything they've
planned for me.
His orders changed from bringing you back with force to rescuing you. The emphasis is unmistakable, the slight disgust in Phoenix's voice sending a little shudder down my back. I flew out that night to find you and bring you back. Now, Alpha Renard is going to use your connection with him to nullify his ability to support Westwood in the upcoming war. Why is he so interested in Westwood?
I don't understand. Phoenix sighs.
His last son was killed in a skirmish on Westwood territory. Against rogues, while he was traveling on a diplomatic mission. Alpha Renard never liked Westwood to begin with, but now he's determined to bring the packs together under his rule. But the Council has overstepped its authority too many times. They have demanded changes in our pack policies, and have threatened us when we refuse to give in to the
12.47.
68 Ava, their plans too.
Unreasonable.
It's time for things to change. You mean he's going to take over the entire Northwestern territories? How stupid is that? There are 5 other packs he would have to take over. Blackwood isn't large enough to do that. Phoenix shakes his head. It doesn't matter what he wants to do, Ava. That's not what concerns you. Then why are you telling me any of this? I need you to understand why I'm about to tell you what you need to do. He steeples his fingers, waiting until my eyes drift toward him. I have a plan for your escape that will benefit us both. I think back to how relieved I felt when he and Jessa showed that they were willing to help me escape, even if it wasn't for my benefit. Now, I feel like I've walked into a snake's den. Foreboding slinks down my spine. You need to return to the Aspen pack and seduce the Alpha until he claims you. His eyes drift to my neck, where the scars have faded and only my crescent scar remains.
Get pregnant. Have his heir. Become the
68 Ava, their plans too.
Aspen Luna. Plus 25.
Did you forget that you're the one who took me from there? I ask in exasperation. Why didn't you think of that before you snatched me back? Phoenix grimaces. He never revealed his plans to mate with you until after you were safe in Packlands, and we could all scent you. None of us really believed you were an Omega until you came back. Then why did you think the Omega was even me in the first place? Our source gave us your name. He looks at me with a faint smile. Though you never gave them your full name, so the Aspen Pack had no idea you were affiliated with ours. He sounds almost approving. So you want to send me back and just trick Clayton into taking me as his mate? If you testify against Alpha Renard when he goes to the Council, he won't be able to force the Council to bring you back. It's only if he can prove that the Aspen Alpha kept you there against your will. If you're his Luna, you can use your influence to ally the Aspen Pack with Blackwood. We don't lose too much with 68 Ava, their plans 1. You gone, and I don't lose my place. He reaches over, grabbing my hand in his, a cajoling tone entering his words. You've seen how much effort I've put into this pack, Ava. I've never been greedy. I've worked for this pack, and obeyed our Alpha. Do you think it's right for it all to be taken away from me just because you became an Omega? So all of this is my fault? I snap at him, yanking my hand out of his. You're happier with Aspen, aren't you? I'm not so horrible that I want my sister to live a miserable life here. I'll help you, and you can help me. Because we're family. A wave of disgust makes me dizzy. As much as I despise his manipulative plans, I can't afford to alienate someone willing to help me escape this nightmare, even if his motives are skewed. And if I refuse? I ask, feigning curiosity. Phoenix's smile fades, his eyes hardening. Then you'll stay here, and Alpha Renard will have his way with you. He'll use your connection to the Aspen Alpha to neutralize any support for Westwood anyway, and This text is copyright noveldrama/org. 68 Ava, their plans too. You'll be nothing more than a broodmare, pumping out pups until you're no longer useful. A shudder runs through me at the thought of being trapped in that hell, forced to bear children for a man I despise. No, I can't let that happen. Okay, I say, my voice barely above a whisper.
I'll do it.
Or at least pretend to until I can make a real
escape. Phoenix nods, satisfied. Good.
I'll make the arrangements for your return to Aspen territory. Remember, Ava, you need to get pregnant as soon as possible. The sooner you have the alpha's heir, the stronger your position will be. Is your period near?
No.
I'm actually not sure when it's due, because I'm terrible at keeping track. I feel like I have another week or two before I need to get worried though. My mind is already racing, trying to find a way out of this twisted scheme. I have no intention of following through with Phoenix's plan, but I need to play along.
For now.
When do I leave? I ask, forcing a smile. Soon Phoenix saves rising from his chair.
I'll let vous.
68 Ava, their plans too.
Know the details.
In the meantime, try to rest. You'll need your strength for what's to come. The next release will be another 10-chapter mass release.
Be prepared.
Comment 0.
Lena Leah.
Creator's thought. Leave the first comment for this chapter. Mom's fingers deftly twist and turn my hair, pinning it into some sort of elaborate style. Her touch is clinical, devoid of any maternal warmth, as she secures each lock into place with sharp tugs. She's been doing this for hours, trying to figure out the best style for the mating ceremony. The only comfort I have is in knowing she'll never have the chance to dress me as planned. Honestly, Ava, couldn't you have made more of an effort with your appearance? She chides as disapproving as always. Your hair is little better than a rat's nest. This is something she's said at least 3 other times in the hour she's been here. I bite back the retort that hovers on my tongue, knowing better than to provoke.
Her ire.
A musical jingle causes her to pause, and she checks something on her phone for a second, before returning to her project. It's a good thing your worth isn't tied to your looks, she continues her words.
1240.
69 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. Cutting deeper than any physical blow.
You should be
grateful that Alpha Renard has deigned to mate with you, despite your deficiencies. There's a little chip in the paint of the wall above the mirror, and my eyes are drawn toward it. It's something to focus on as I tune out her nagging and cruel remarks. For a woman who's capable of so much love toward her older children, it's amazing how much vitriol she can throw at another. If I wasn't positive I were her child by birth, I would definitely assume I'm adopted. But Ava, she warns me, still yanking and tugging, don't let it go to your head. The title of Luna is not for the likes of you. You'll be a mate in name only. It's still an honor, but the pack can never have a blemish as its figurehead. It's a struggle to maintain my composure, to keep the bitter resentment from showing on my face. Do you understand? She presses, looking into the mirror so I'm forced to meet her gaze. She's almost manic in her quest for my acquaintance. This is your duty, your obligation to the pack. You will mate with 12.46. C. 69 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. Alpha Renard, and you will bear his children. That is the extent of your purpose. I nod, the motion stiff and mechanical, like a puppet on strings. My mind, however, is already spinning, formulating a plan to escape this waking nightmare. As soon as Phoenix grants me the freedom to return to the Aspen pack, I'll contact Lisa. We'll run far away from the suffocating confines of this stupid pack and their twisted expectations. The door creaks open, interrupting my mother's nagging monologue. An older woman with an elegant bearing and a bright, unsettling gleam in her eyes enters the room. She exudes an aura of authority that sends shivers through my body. She isn't a wolf, but she isn't human, either. Her eyes are a dark, glittering red and her hair is black without the faintest sheen of color in its highlights, adding to the otherworldly presence she has. My mother straightens, a look of respect crossing her features. Sister Miriam, she greets the stranger. What an honor to have you grace us with your presence.
1248.
69 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. Sister Miriam inclines her head, a faint smile playing on her lips.
They're pale and thin.
The honor is mine, Grace. Alpha Renard requested my expertise in a delicate matter. Her inhuman stare settles on me, sending prickles of unease over my skin. It's hard to hold her gaze. If I had hackles, they'd be standing. This woman is a predator. She's an existence that's dangerous even to wolves. I can feel it, even if I don't know what she is. Of course, my mother says, her cultured voice a little tense. She's affected, too. Alpha Renard said you would be able to see if our Ava is pregnant. A flush creeps up my neck, and I avert my gaze, suddenly unable to meet Sister Miriam's probing stare. I don't know what she can do that a pregnancy test can't this early on, and I'm not sure I want to. Indeed, Sister Miriam murmurs, her footsteps soft as she approaches. I am the most skilled in detecting the earliest signs of breeding. The Alpha can rest assured that I will provide an accurate assessment. She stops by my side, meeting my eyes again in the 69 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. Mirror. Her smile is wide, her teeth too white. It looks unnatural on her face, as though no other muscles move with her mirth. There's no need for concern, child, she says. Her voice is sweet in a way that should be soothing, and yet paired with her face, it's terrifying. I will be gentle. Long, cold fingers tilt my chin upward as she turns to look at me. I shiver at the touch, something inside me protesting the close contact. It's like my skin burns where she touches, but when I try to jerk away, she grips my chin hard, inspecting me with calculating eyes. She murmurs, letting go to trail her hand down my neck, across my collarbone, down my chest and finally coming to rest on my abdomen. Tell me, have you experienced any unusual fatigue? Nausea? Tenderness? No. Her hand presses firmly against my stomach, and I flinch. Though her hands are cold, an unwelcome heat eats at my skin. It hurts. 12:48. 69 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. Relax, dear, she chides, as if talking to an unruly child. This will go much smoother if you cooperate. Taking my eyes off her reflection in the mirror, I watch my mother instead. A faint hint of disgust furrows her brow, and her lips are tight. She's a lot less respectful when the woman isn't looking at her. Interesting. What manner of person is Sister Miriam? I'm surprised Alpha Renard would ever work with someone other than Shifters, with his supremacist views. Interesting, Sister Miriam murmurs, her crimson eyes inspecting me as closely as my mother inspects dust on the furniture. You can't shift at all, can you? She doesn't wait for my response. Your energy is muddled. Unfocused. She leans in closer, her dark hair brushing against my arm as she whispers into my ear. Almost as if you're fighting against your true nature. Keeping my face impassive is a phenomenal effort, but I think I manage. I can sense the potential within you though, she continues, her cold breath fanning across my face. A. Nusar Lien dormant uniting to he unlashed. 12.40. 69 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. She taps her fingers at the pendant at my neck, and I fight everything in my body to stay still. Don't fret, child. I can help awaken that which slumbers inside. You. The predatory gleam in her eyes sends a sinister wind through my soul. Trepidation and anxiety flow in equal measure through my veins as my mother leans forward, tired of waiting for a clear answer. Can you sense if Ava is pregnant, Sister Miriam? Oh. The woman's eyes glaze, her gaze becoming distant as if peering into another realm. Her voice deepens, taking on a strong cadence that seems to vibrate the very air around us. An ancient power lies dormant, awaiting the weakest to awaken it. Her womb shall house the strongest, who will inherit the legacy of the lichens. And just like that, she's back, the energy dispersed in mere seconds. She blinks at me, then toward my mother. It is uncertain, she answers, still with her eerie smile. I shall come again before the ceremony. Alpha Renard has chosen well. Ah yes, my mom's pathetic agreement only cements her disdain toward me. Thank you for coming, Sister Miriam. What are friends for, Grace? 12:49. 70 AVS Stir Miriam, 1. Sister Miriam's gaze meets mine once again. There's a glint in her eyes that makes me nervous. If you ever need me, child, she says, her voice low and almost melodic, simply light a candle and call my name. I'll find you. I watch Sister Miriam leave, her words lingering in the air like an ominous mist. As the door closes behind her, my mother lets out a shudder, her face twisted. She reaches for a small travel bottle of hand sanitizer on the dresser and rubs the gel over her palms, making sure no amount of skin is untouched, as if trying to scrub away an invisible stain. Who is she? I ask, unable to contain my curiosity despite the strange encounter. My mother's eyes narrow as she turns to face me. Stop being so nosy, Ava, she snaps, her voice laced with irritation. That's none of your concern. She looks over my body in disgust. It's unfortunate that we still don't know if you're pregnant, but I guess there's little we can do except wait. I watch my mother closely as she continues fussing with my hair, her movements stiff and agitated. The C. 70 Ava, Sister Miriam, 2. Encounter with Sister Miriam has left her visibly unsettled, a rare crack in her usually composed
demeanor.
Is she some sort of prophet? I ask, unable to contain my curiosity any longer. Mom's hands freeze mid-motion, her fingers tangled in my hair. She meets my gaze in the mirror, her eyes narrowing. I told you, it's none of your concern, she snaps, her voice laced with irritation. Don't ask about things that don't involve you. I flinch at her sharp tone, but a part of me refuses to back down. But she was saying such odd things. I just want to make sure Mom isn't going to go telling Alpha Renard what was said here. I'm hoping Mom's thinking of Phoenix more than she's thinking of her own status in the pack. If Alpha Renard hears something like that, it doesn't matter what plan Phoenix has in mind, he'll keep trying to get me back. Mom's grip on my hair tightens, and I wince as she tugs at a lock with more force than necessary.
Enough, Ava.
You're not to speak of this again, do you understand? Her voice is low and threatening. 1270 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. Warning I've heard countless times before. It's impossible to nod, so I choke out a soft, yes, hoping I look properly cowed. My mind races with 1,000 thoughts and 1,000 more worries as I pace back and forth in the cramped space of my bedroom, having skipped dinner with the family. Seeing their faces would make it impossible to choke down any food, wondering if at any moment they'd start talking about Sister Miriam's words. Her cryptic words echo in my head like a haunting melody. How did she know about the power I can't access? And are her words a vision of the future, or just some cryptic mumbo-jumbo she spewed on the spot? The sound of the door opening interrupts my circular thoughts, and I whirl around to see Phoenix entering the room. His expression is grim, his brow furrowed with concern. He tosses a burner phone onto my bed, the device bouncing slightly on the mattress. Excitement wars with caution. What's going on? 70 Ava Sister Miriam, 2.
Ask, heart pounding.
Phoenix grimaces, running a hand through his tousled hair. Mom and Dad are freaking out about what Sister Miriam said, he explains, his grim tone ringing. Warning bells in my head. My stomach twists, and I want to vomit all the food I've eaten from past to future. Are they going to tell Alpha Renard? Phoenix shakes his head. No, they won't, he assures me, but his tone is laced with uncertainty.
Look, Ava.
While Mom and Dad are loyal to Alpha Renard, they never expected that you would truly be able to bear him any kids, considering that he hasn't had any luck in so long. Even with you being an Omega, Alpha
Renard is barren.
Confusion has me frowning.
What do you mean?
How do you know that? Phoenix sighs, his shoulders sagging with the weight of some unseen burden. Dad and Mom said that his previous kids weren't biologically his. That can't be true. How is that possible? Phoenix shifts his weight, rolling his shoulders in.
1240.
70 Ava, Sister Miriam, 2.
Discomfort.
His gaze goes over my head, to my desk, then to the floor off to the side of him.
Mom was his wife's best friend.
She helped cover it up. She told Dad everything. The implications of his words sink in a little at a time. Alpha Renard, the powerful and feared leader of our pack, has been deceived all this time, his wife bearing children that were not truly his own. They'd been his pride and joy, even if they were weak for Alpha heirs, all of them dying during what would be considered minor skirmishes with other shifters. The revelation is almost too much to comprehend. They died because they weren't Alpha heirs at all.
They were weak. Did she mate a Delta?
But why would they do that? I ask, my voice trembling with a mixture of disbelief and fear. Phoenix's expression hardens.
Power, Ava.
It's always about power in a pack. She didn't want to lose her position as Luna, even if it meant betraying her mate. I sink onto the edge of my bed, my mind reeling. How many other secrets are buried beneath the surface of
our pack? 1249.
70 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1. Mine doesn't seem so bad in comparison. At least no one did anything to cause it. I was just an anomaly.
From birth.
That's why Mom and Dad are so worried, he says, his voice a low snarl of frustration. If Sister Miriam's words are true, and you really do possess some kind of ancient power, they know Alpha Renard will stop at nothing to claim you as his own. No matter how many packs he has to war against to get you.
So this. I lift the burner phone.
I take it we're accelerating the plan?
He hesitates. Yes.
The hesitation has my gut clenching. There's something wrong. Something he isn't saying.
Phoenix. No more questions, Ava. Just be prepared.
I can't tell Mom or Dad anything, because we need them to be able to convince Alpha Renard that our family had nothing to do with your disappearance. Tomorrow night, you leave Packlands.
Leave Packlands. 1249.
70 Ava, Sister Miriam, 1.
I notice that he doesn't say anything about where I'm supposed to end up. T from novel, dra/m/a.org. The paranoia I've been honing since I ran away the night of the Lunar Gala flares urgently in the back of my head.
What's the phone for?
Oh, he says, with a vague wave of his hand.
You'll
need to be able to call your alpha lover when you get there, won't you?
Right.
Because Phoenix has always been so kind and
generous. Lucas. You're positive?
My still, smoldering cigarette is crushed into oblivion within the crystal ashtray, along with 20 of its kin. Smoke is an intrusive guest within the cramped room, swirling around the heads of both deltas standing before me. Cheap motel rooms aren't meant to house 3 large wolf shifter males, but it is what it is. Positive, Ryder reports, cool as a fucking cucumber despite how much is riding on tonight. The decision to invade Blackwood wasn't made lightly. Most of the pack fought against the decision, until 2 more scouts were found dead at the border. And, most importantly, a witness. That one was alive though. Council won't move until we bring the official petition, Ryder continues, flipping through the notes.
In front of him.
Even so, Silver Moon forces near the 33:01.
LO.
71 Lucas preparation. Border are confirmed and ready if we call for aid. The chair creaks beneath my weight as I lean back, but surprisingly manages to stay together. With this act of war, Council will have lost its authority anyway. My deltas say nothing. There isn't much to say. The fact that an alpha is willing to say as much is far beyond their pay grade. Silvermoon has allied with Westwood, and Aspen as well, though Clayton seems to be busy hunting down his own missing mate. It's an epidemic, and I'm positive it's all been orchestrated by the Blackwoods to weaken the packs. Swaying the chair from side to side, I glance at the ceiling, thinking in between rhythmic creaks.
Ryder, head to Silvermoon.
I'll contact you if we need the reinforcements.
Vester, stay with us.
You'll head off any runners from the south. Our goal is to cut off Blackwood's head today. I don't want this war going on for years.
Understood.
Lighting another cigarette, I inhale deeply, letting the harsh smoke fill my lungs before exhaling a plume into the stale air. My deltas are on edge too, but they wait
for my dismissal.
Their last report weighs on my mind. My elusive mate has been sighted at her family home, under guard at all times. Further, that idiot Alpha brought in an unregistered into his territory.
An unregistered?
I'd have never believed one of our own could be that level of stupid. We know better than to consort with those unwilling to abide by the standards we've set forth in order to live in peace with
humans.
And yet, Blackwood is truly that much of a dumbass. He has little connection with the humans in his
territory.
Consorting with an unregistered is nothing to someone who doesn't care about the humans in
their lands.
Between that taboo and the witness saved after the last attack, we finally have evidence. Now, we have a reason for war. Reasons that will allow the council to be rebuilt in the aftermath, even as I ignore all convention to declare it without their approval. I don't have time for that shit. I can't risk them hiding. 71 Lucas, preparation.
Her from me.
In good news, it was ridiculously easy to slide under his radar, avoiding his scouts and settling all my wolves into a city near the heart of his packlands. They have no presence in the human cities, and no humans here are loyal to the power of the pack controlling their territory. He's done nothing to foster a relationship
with them.
Please check at n/uval.drama.org. Even the rogues we've run into have been dominated with ease. No alpha worth their rank would have allowed so many to settle in these human towns, and yet Blackwood has done so, leaving threats within his border without a second thought. Sheer arrogance.
It'll be his downfall tonight.
I hadn't expected it to be quite so easy to infiltrate their lands, but I'm grateful for it. It's kept her safe while I finally made my move.
My sweet mate.
A tremor of anticipation courses through me, fueled by the thought of her being so tantalizingly close after all this time. Tonight, she will be free from her pack.
11:01.
71 Lucas, preparation. And hopefully free to choose me.
But I'm not stupid.
I can't force it. If I have to, I'll bring her back to Cedarwood when it's safe and woo her there. I lean back in the creaky chair, letting it groan beneath my weight again, pondering our next move. The invasion plans are sound, our scouts are in position, and allies await the call to arms. But a part of me bristles at the thought of storming Blackwood lands like some mindless barbarian. There has to be a better way, a surgical strike to extract Ava without shedding unnecessary blood. My fingers drum against the armrest, a steady rhythm matching the thump of my heart. Renard Blackwood is a sly old bastard, that much is certain.
He wouldn't keep Ava close without good reason. Is there a secret behind her? Something I have yet to learn? Why else bring an unregistered to her home? The thought of others knowing more about her than me, her mate. A soft growl builds up in my chest, and my wolf snaps at the air in my mind.
He's on edge. Impatient. He wants his mate safe. The plans need to change.
Vester, I growl, stubbing out my cigarette with more force than necessary. My newest Delta straightens his shoulders.
Prepare a small team, no more than 5.
We're going in quiet, just you and me at the front. The rest will hang back as support. Once we have her safe, the plan will move forward.
He hesitates.
My Deltas aren't too scared to run their mouths, but they know I have a short fuse when it comes to my mate.
You want to go in alone?
With all due respect, Alpha, that's a hell of a risk.
I'm not asking.
My tone leaves no room for argument. If Ava is being held against her will, a full-scale invasion will only endanger her further.
This has to be clean, precise. In and out before.
Blackwood even knows we're there. We don't know what that fucking bloodsucker did when she was brought in either. Once she's safe, we can proceed to wipe them from
this world.
Ryder exchanges a glance with Vester, but both nod in reluctant agreement. They know the lengths I'll go to for her, have seen firsthand the fire that burns within.
1301.
71 Lucas, preparation. Me whenever her name is uttered. As you wish, Vester says at last. I'll gather the team and we'll be ready to move at your command. I give a curt nod, already formulating strategies in my mind. Getting into Blackwood territory undetected will be the greatest challenge, but I have faith in my Delta skills. Once we're inside, finding Ava will be my
sole focus.
The image of her face flashes before my eyes, those piercing blue irises, the delicate curve of her jaw, the softness of her lips that I've yearned to taste for far too long.
She haunts my dreams.
And now, finally, I have a chance to bring her home where she belongs.
At my side. In my arms. In my bed.
A feral growl rumbles deep in my chest as possessive instincts flare hot and bright. My wolf howls in my head, rage shimmering within us both. She is ours, and we will tear apart anyone who dares. 13.02. Less than 71 Lucas, preparation. Stand in our way. With a deep breath, I force the wolf back into its cage, steadying the storm of emotions that threatens to overwhelm me. Calm focus, that's what I need now. I can let the beast off its leash once Ava is safe. Get moving, I tell my Deltas, already rising from my seat. I want to be in position before nightfall. They move to obey, but I catch Vester's arm before he can leave, pulling him close enough to taste the wariness rolling off him in waves. One more thing, I rumble, holding his gaze with steely resolve. If it comes down to it, if she's harmed in any way, leave no one alive. Burn that fucking pack to the ground. I don't care if they're women or children, weak or strong.
For a beat, he says nothing. Then a grim nod. Understood, Alpha.
With that, he's gone, the door slamming shut behind him. I'm alone now, surrounded by the oppressive silence and the lingering scent of smoke, my cigarette having burned itself out after only one puff from me. My mind is a whirlwind churning with the promise of
Clayton.
The hospital holds too many memories, and my wolf snarls and whines as it tries in desperation to sniff out any hint of Ava's scent when we arrive. There's nothing, of course. Just the smell of the injured, the sickly, and disinfectant. Ivy's room is in our family wing on the top floor, and I head straight there, unable to even look at the button for floor 12.
Ava's floor.
Mate, my wolf whines, and I wonder how much worse this would be if we had a fated connection instead of a chosen one. Lucas' single-minded determination has never made more sense to me than now, as we've spent over a week searching for any hint of the men who took Ava. Someone had covered their tracks. Every airline, every taxi company, every rideshare, every car rental, their systems were hacked and wiped, so we can't even
see. 72 Clayton, her identity.
Ascertain how she left.
Air? Car?
Even the trains were messed up for a while as they had to go through tickets by hand to verify.
Passengers.
There are no security cameras we can rely on. Everything in the city was wiped.
Everything.
I can't imagine what level of influence is needed to take down all of these things in a major city. It's beyond any single pack in the Northwestern Territories. Was she taken by someone outside of them? But who and why? There are no answers to be found. I settle into a chair beside Ivy's bedside. The natural healing abilities of every wolf are varied in strength, and Ivy's are so low that she heals almost at the rate of
a normal human.
All content is property copyright noveldrama.org. Thanks to the medication in her veins, she sleeps in peace. All of her tests are coming back with positive signs of recovery. If I could find the bastards who did this to her, it.
72 Clayton, her identity. Would be even better.
I cradle Ava's phone in my palm, running my thumb over the smooth surface. The screen remains dark and lifeless. My jaw clenches as I stare at the pitiful list of contacts, just my number and Ivy's. As an alpha, I should have pushed harder, gotten the information I needed. It was obvious in Ava's evasiveness and refusal to divulge personal details, the way she dodged questions about her family, that she was running from something. I let it slide because I was too focused on her heat, and then on keeping her here without scaring her off. Now I don't even know her last name, and she's missing. Taken from beneath my nose in a place she should have been safe, the very heart of my pack.
Lands.
My wolf whines, sensing my turmoil, and I force myself to take a deep breath, reining in the torrent of
emotions.
The burner phone she'd left behind is our only lead, our sole connection to Ava's past. She must have bought it when she was shopping with Rowan.
Smart.
13.02.
72 Clayton, her identity. Girl.
Too bad she was smart enough to lock it too. We have no one capable of hacking into it or the high-level skills required to overcome everything the abductors had wrought in their wake.
A mistake I won't repeat.
My grip tightens around the phone. The pack's technology will rise. No more relying on outside resources when our security is at stake. I need to hire more experienced IT personnel, individuals with the skills to navigate the digital landscape. Humans have them in droves, but few are willing to work with the shifters, even in our cautious alliance, as if the last remaining bastion of humanity's supremacy will be enough to save them from the takeover they imagine. Meanwhile, very few packs think of dominating this world, knowing the humans' existence betters all of our lives. Without their numbers, their talents and their sheer workforce, our societies would regress at an alarming rate. There is no good thing to come from a world without
humans. 72 Clayton, her identity.
A soft knock on the door breaks me from my reverie, and I look up to see Rowan's concerned gaze. My beta has been a steadfast pillar of support throughout this ordeal, his calm demeanor a balm to my frayed nerves. "Any news?" he asks, stepping into the room. I shake my head, forcing the words past the lump in my throat.
Not yet.
I'm still waiting for the results from the burner phone. Rowan's brow furrows. "You sent it out last week.
Why? Don't they know yet?" I shrug.
I can't admit that most of the technical jargon is over my head. I'm not even sure they're making it the priority they said they would. Westwood is attacking tonight. He's forwarded all the evidence they've gathered against Blackwood. They brought in an unregistered last night.
Shit.
I'd forgotten all about that situation. Send some of ours to Westwood in case they need
reinforcements.
It'll be too late by the time they arrive, Rowan
cautions. 72 Clayton, her identity.
I shake my head. It doesn't matter. Knowing Xavier, he's already helping. Blackwood doesn't have a fighting chance at head-on combat, but Lucas will need manpower after they take over the territory, keeping the peace until the council decides what to do with it.
Understood.
Rowan types something on his phone, quickly sending out whatever orders will get the job done. I squeeze the bridge of my nose in frustration, feeling a headache settle behind my eyes. Still nothing on the security cameras? Nothing, he confirms, just as his phone beeps. Where are you?
Are you Ava? Who were you running from? Lucas? We have a lead, the cautious note in.
Rowan's words should have warned me. I vault out of my chair, snatching his phone, my gaze fixed on the image before me.
There she is.
Unmistakable with her dark blonde hair and striking blue eyes. They've haunted my dreams since the day she disappeared.
Ava, alive and well, captured on
Anmaro walking through an unfamiliar airnort.
72 Clayton, her identity. Terminal.
The date stamp confirms my worst fears, the very day she vanished from the Aspen Packlands. My breath catches in my throat as I take in the details, my blood running cold when I recognize the man beside her. Phoenix Gray has his hand on the small of her back, guiding her through the crowds.
Why?
I force myself to study the image again, committing every detail to memory. Where was this taken? I growl, my voice a low rumble as I struggle to contain the wolf clawing at my insides, desperate to give chase.
Mate. They have our mate. War.
Rowan's expression is grim. White Peak International Airport. They must have flown her out immediately after taking her from the city.
They. The Blackwood Pack. Again, why?
Why target my mate?
72 Clayton, her identity.
Pieces start falling into place, each one more damning than the last. Ava's reluctance to share details about herself, Her refusal to contact anyone in her family or any friends. The memory of her sent the day I met her flashes. Through my mind once more fear, distress, and something else. Something I couldn't quite place at the time, but now recognize as desperation. She was trying to run. Once she realized we were shifters too, she felt panic instead of reassurance. A sudden horrifying thought occurs to me, and I feel as though the ground has fallen away beneath my feet. Rowan, I rasp, my voice barely above a whisper. What was the name of Lucas, mate? Ava Grey, sir. He sounds strangled as he gives the words he knows I won't want to hear.
Ava Grey.
Phoenix Grey's younger sister. Phoenix, who's standing next to my Ava. The world tilts on its axis as the implications sink in. Ava Grey, daughter of Alexander Grey, the beta of the 13.02.
10. 72 Clayton, her identity.
Blackwood Pack. The same Ava that Lucas has been searching for, his fated mate torn from his grasp by
unknown forces.
My mate is Lucas Westwood's fated mate. The realization is like a physical blow, stealing the breath from my lungs.
How is this possible?
Unbidden, memories of our time together flash through my mind, the searing heat of her touch, the softness of her lips, the way her body molded perfectly against mine. Moments I treasured, now tainted by the knowledge that she belongs to another.
Lucas.
My ally, my friend. Bile rises in my throat as guilt and shame war within me. I've betrayed him in the most fundamental way, even if it was unintentional. The bond one want with Ava, though chosen, is real.
Yet she is not mine.
Rowan's voice cuts through the maelstrom of emotions swirling within me.
Sir, what are your orders? Do we
still send our men to Blackwood? I force myself to take a steadying breath, tamping.
72 Clayton, her identity.
Down the turmoil raging inside me. Now is not the time for personal struggles. Ava's safety is paramount. Yes, I say, and my voice is rougher than intended. We must be there for our allies.
I'll go in person. Clayton, you break my heart.
There's nothing to pack. The few clothes I have are courtesy of Mom shopping for me, and I have no interest in keeping them when I leave. I'll go with a ripped pair of jeans and a shirt that I took scissors to, cutting off its holy hem until it looks tattered on purpose instead of because it's been washed too many times. The only shoes I have are the heels I wore when they brought me home. Those, I put in a backpack Phoenix gave me from his old school days. Despite a decade of sitting in our attic, it smells like marijuana mixed with the cedar our home is built with. Big brother was a bit of a rebel, I guess. I have a pair of sneakers that are a half size too small. I'll have some blisters, but I can buy a new pair somewhere. It'll be easier to run in them than heels. The burner phone stares at me from its position on my desk. I know without a doubt that it has a tracer on it. I still have no idea if the phone Clayton gave me was tampered with. I know I had a level of paranoia.
73 Ava, final countdown.
That bordered on ridiculous during my stay with the Aspen Wolves.
But this phone? I'm not paranoid.
Phoenix has decided that it's better to wipe my existence from memory than keep me as a hesitant ally. So stupid, to ever think our interests could align. I consider reaching out to Lisa, but I don't want Phoenix or his goons to get to her. What if my desperate attempt to seek solace from Lisa only leads them straight to her doorstep, putting her in harm's way?
No way.
I can't risk Lisa's safety.
She's too precious.
I won't be the one to drag her into the darkness that has
consumed my life.
Phoenix is sneaking me out, ostensibly to the airport tonight. I have to figure out another plan before then. So far, I've got nothing. If there's a tracker on my phone, there's a good chance that he wants me to make it, at least for a
73 Ava, final countdown. Little while.
Or, it's just there as insurance in case I escape whatever ambush he has planned. Fuck, I can't keep my head straight around all the possibilities. Paranoia has me in a chokehold I can't escape, no matter how much I try to think my way through.
1. No money.
I can try to steal some, but from who?
Mom and Dad are out. Jess is out.
Phoenix isn't here yet. Only the guards outside are near, and they're not about to whip out any wallets for me. I can try overpowering them, but it's a fool's dream to think I could take 3 of them. My training was in self-defense, not self-offense. Circle upon circle, my thinking can't escape this trap that I'm set to walk into. Lisa's the only way out I can think of, but there has to be something else.
Anything else?
But there's nothing. By 6, I'm desperate. I can hear the sounds of my family returning home, one by one. Dad's heavy, thudding footsteps. Mom's stilettos clicking against
73 Ava, final countdown. The floor.
The way Jess's truck roars into our driveway, like it's trying to announce its presence to the entire fucking neighborhood. None of them call me down for dinner.
None of them give a shit if I eat.
The only reason I even cook is because if I don't, there won't be any meal for me from what mom brings home.
They're in the kitchen.
Laughter and conversation flows upstairs, the sounds of a happy family. Dad's rumbling voice paired with Jess's chatter and mom's occasional directions called out with a smile. Yeah, when it comes to the four of them, they're perfect. It's only me who's never fit in. I struggle in the silence of my room, listening in to a family who doesn't want me, only missing the person who's intending to kill me tonight. Celine's absence hurts more than ever. The crystal around my neck reminds me of her, and I've developed a habit of fiddling with it. Every time I do, I have to tell myself to stop before I break the
chain. 73 Ava, final countdown.
An ominous sensation crawls up my spine, making me shudder, my arms jerking a bit with the force of the motion. Despite the early evening hour of 6 p.m., the summer sun still blazes bright, casting long shadows across the yard as I stare out the window.
A hollow ache settles in my chest. If I die,
the thought of leaving without saying goodbye tears at my resolve. What if this is the last time I get to talk to her? The weight of that realization is suffocating.
With a
trembling exhale, I snatch up the burner phone and begin to type.
Ava, it's me.
I just wanted to check in before things get crazy. I love you, bestie bae, my soul twin, my other half of crazy. The response is almost instantaneous.
Lisa, Ave. What's going on?
You okay? A sad smile tugs at my lips at her concern. Lisa has been my rock through everything, and I don't know what I'd do without her steadfast friendship.
73 Ava, final countdown.
Ava, I'm alright for now. Phoenix is getting me out of here tonight, but I'm not sure what's going to happen after that. Lisa, where is he taking you? Should I be worried?
Noveldrama.org, text copyright owner.
I can picture her brow furrowed, her dark eyes narrowed with worry.
Guilt twists in my gut.
We're supposed to escape this place together. She's been waiting for me to give her the word.
But I can't.
Ava, it's a long story, one I'll explain when I can. I just wanted to say that I love you, and you're the best friend I could ever ask for. No matter what happens, please know that. The weight of those words settles heavily on my shoulders. This could very well be the last time I get to express how much Lisa means to me. Lisa, Ava, you're scaring me.
What's going on?
This wasn't our plan. The sun is beginning to set when a slight detour from the circular thoughts I've had about tonight finally
occurs to me. A weapon.
Who says I have to accept my fate without fighting?
No one.
I can at least try to arm myself.
But with what?
I have knives in the kitchen, of course. I'll grab a couple. But they'll be too large to keep in my pockets. What else can I use? I grab a rock, but I'm not even allowed in the yard to
find one. A pen?
I can stab someone in the eye with a pen, so I grab a few of them and put them in either pocket. After some hesitation, I grab an old belt. I can try to swing it at someone and hit them with the buckle, right? I put it on, without sliding it through any belt loops. 1504.
C.
74 Ava, preparing for the worst. The easier to get to, the better. Desperation creeps in as I realize how ill-prepared I am. My gaze lands on a can of hairspray, and I snatch it up, tucking it into the depths of my backpack. Not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Sneaking downstairs is easy. Mom's ignoring me as usual, as she sits in the living room and watches TV. Jess is with her, doing something on her phone. Neither look up as I pass by. Dad's probably in his
office.
In the kitchen, I wrap up a couple knives with kitchen towels. A penlight in the everything drawer is my favorite find, and a small folding utility knife that probably belonged to Phoenix a long time ago. Those go in my pocket. I make a small plate of food in an attempt to disguise the knives I bring upstairs in case Mom or Jessa looks
my way. Of course they don't.
Closing the door behind me with a soft exhale of relief, I jump and almost spill my food when I hear the burner vibrate twice against the desk. Less than 74 Ava, preparing for the worst. Setting my plate and knives down, I fumble to retrieve
it, hands shaking.
Phoenix, I'll swing by around midnight when everyone's asleep.
Be ready.
A wave of nausea washes over me as the reality of the situation sinks in. I'm really doing this, leaving everything behind on the mere promise of freedom. My fingers hover over the keypad, contemplating a response, but what is there to say? Instead, I let the phone slip from my grasp, clattering onto the desk as I sink onto the edge of my bed, burying my face in my hands. The weight of my decisions presses down on me, threatening to
suffocate me.
A voice in the back of my mind whispers that I should just run, leave this place behind and figure out the rest as I go. But they'll catch me within hours, if not sooner. I can't shift, and everyone else can. My gaze drifts to the backpack, now stuffed with the meager belongings I've managed to gather. I add the knives into it.
What about Celine?
She still hasn't made it here. 2017. 74 Ava, preparing for the worst. Have no idea how long it would normally take a dog to make it to this territory, but I'm sure she's still far. We're over 1,000 miles apart. The thought of never feeling her warm fur beneath my fingers, never hearing her playful yips, is almost too
much to bear.
I feel another ominous shudder go through my body, and I glance towards the window, searching for any sign of what could be causing this uneasy feeling. The sky's color has deepened, the last vestiges of twilight having faded away. Trees sway gently in the evening breeze, in an illusion of a moment of peace after a tiring day. Wrapping my arms around myself, I turn away from the window, pacing. It's what I do best these days. My footsteps seem unnaturally loud against the hardwood, the only sound aside from the pounding of my heart, echoing in my ears. I pause in front of the mirror, studying my reflection. My eyes are wide, my face pale and drawn. Brushing my fingers over the crescent-shaped scar on my neck, I take a deep, steadying breath. 74 Ava, preparing for the worst. I jump at the sudden vibration of the burner phone on my desk, the noise cutting through the heavy silence like a knife. Snatching it up, I read another message from Lisa, just asking me to please message her back. I send her a quick gif of two cartoon bears hugging. Midnight. Just a couple short hours from now. Clutching the phone to my chest, I close my eyes, drawing in a deep, steadying breath. I can do this. I will survive. I have to survive. There's no other choice, not anymore. An unfamiliar sound distracts me from my thoughts, like something heavy falling onto a soft surface. I glance outside the window, but it's impossible to see outside. The lights in my room glare against the glass, obstructing any possible vision into the darkness. It's probably nothing, but my paranoia is on high alert. I walk to the light switch, giving it a soft click and blinking my eyes until I adjust to the darkness. The shadows outside seem to shift and undulate, but I can't make out any clear shapes or movement. Shouldn't there be a guard out there somewhere? Dunato the family haina hama thou ugwali lawa ana. Less than 74 Ava, preparing for the worst. Or two guards patrolling at night. Frowning, I lean closer to the glass, my breath fogging up a small patch as I squint into the dark, beyond the reach of the dim porch lights. There's nothing out of the ordinary that I can detect. And yet that nagging sense of unease refuses to dissipate. My instincts are on full alert, hissing at me that something's wrong. That I should run. It's like a painful itch that I can't quite reach. Content copyright provided by NovelDrama.org. I open my window. The hairs on the back of my neck prickle as a strange, indistinct rustling drifts to my ears. I freeze, hardly daring to breathe as I wait for the sound to repeat itself and give me a clearer sense of its source. Seconds stretch into minutes of tense silence. Nothing stirs except the whisper of leaves in the faint breeze. I let out a slow, shaky exhale, chastising myself for letting my nerves get the better of me. Of course there's nothing amiss. The guards are likely just out of line of sight for the moment. I need to get a grip before I completely unravel. Lucas. The air is thick with tension as we approach the heart of the Blackwood Packlands. Every step is calculated, every movement deliberate. One false move can jeopardize everything. A single shifter can alert an entire pack. I can't afford that. Not when Ava's life hangs in the balance. Vester moves like a wraith beside me, his footfalls silent despite the underbrush beneath our boots. The four shifters flanking us are some of the most loyal and strongest members of the pack, well versed in reconnaissance. Between their skills and the scent diffusers coating us to avoid detection, we make it through their territory without incident. Our cars are still in White Peak, so getting Ava out will be an ordeal, especially since she can't shift. Alpha Xavier's offer of help has come in handy. Once we get her, we just have to call in a distraction. 13:05. 75 Lucas going in. Hopefully by the time they realize what it is, we'll be in cars and on our way back to Westwood Lands. Nightfall cloaks our approach as we close in on the Grey home, a modest suburban home to the edge of the territory, as most high-ranking wolves are. No wolf likes to be enclosed on all sides by buildings. Vester signals for us to hold position as he links with Ryder, who's already with the Silver Moon forces. With the Whispering Pines packed territory between Silver Moon and Blackwood, Xavier had to submit an informal request to the Whispering Pines pack to allow his forces through. The Whispering Pines pack has turned a blind eye to the situation, allowing them to camp on the border of their lands, and now we have a distraction from a direction that bastard Blackwood would never expect. Moments later, Ryder links with me.
They're in
position near the border and ready to cause a stir. All we have to do is wait. Each minute passes with agonizing peace. I can see the occasional flash of Ava in her window, looking stressed as she paces. 2 guards stroll the perimeter. 75 Lucas Gonger. They aren't even ranked wolves, they're weak. It won't be hard to overpower them before they can alert
anyone.
Then, much as a small flame can burst into an inferno. There's activity. A flurry of it, seen in glimpses through bright windows. Alexander Grey and his daughter Jessa rush out of the house, taking separate cars. They're silent, though I imagine their minds are cacophonous with packlinks. Grace is still inside. She's weaker than she appears, but she's intelligent. We'll have to avoid her mind, linking to warn anyone of what's going on here. I nod to Vester and the 4 shifters we've dragged into this mess of a mission.
Vester, you're with me.
We have to overpower the beta's mate before she can sound the alarm. You 4, break off into pairs and take the guards. Remember, they can't have the chance to mind link any of their pack, or we'll be fighting all of them. They all nod in unison, faces grim and determined.
Let's go.
75 Lucas, going in. We move in a tight formation, the world around us fading into our breath, our every movement. My focus narrows to the scents drifting on the crisp night air, humid summer nights, pine trees, and the scent of a particular brand of perfume, with jasmine and honey. Notes carried through an open window. This text is copyright noveldrama/org. A silent hand signal, and we split off. Vester and I veer toward the back entrance while the others flank the guards patrolling the perimeter. Time slows as we wait with bated breath for the telltale signs of engagement. Suddenly, a muffled grunt shatters the silence, followed by another in rapid succession. The guards have been neutralized with ruthless efficiency, just as we'd planned. Vester meets my gaze. No words are necessary, a single nod and we proceed. The door is unlocked to our surprise, but as we slip through it, our steps a mere breath against the hardwood floors. Perfumed fragrance tickles my nose as it grows stronger. My wolf strains against its restraints, growling with the thirst for the hunt. But I can't afford to lose control, not yet. Not until Ava is safe. 75 Lucas, going in. The kitchen is open and airy, making it easy to slip through without knocking into anything. I can smell my mate's presence, and it's almost impossible to wrest control from my wolf as he slinks low in my mind. Vester is a silent shadow at my back with every step closer to our target. In the living room, I can see her silhouette just around the wall. She's peering outside, but her body language
isn't on alert. Not yet.
I meet Vester's gaze, and he gives a slight nod. In one fluid motion, I draw the syringe filled with wolfsbane from my pocket. It was a calculated risk to bring it with us, in case of any accidents, but
it's worth more
than its weight in gold. The only concoction on this planet fatal to every wolf. It shouldn't be enough to kill her.
Not yet, anyway.
Maybe in a few days, if we're lucky. I rush into the room, watching as her body tenses when she realizes something's wrong.
She has no
chance to act on her instinct as I stab into her neck. With the syringe, depressing the plunger at almost the 75 Lucas, going in.
Same time.
Even a single drop can interfere in her ability to transmit across mind links. Her body crumples in an instant, unconscious before she can make a sound. I stand over her prone form, my heart pounding in my ears. The scent of jasmine and honey mingles with the acrid tang of wolfsbane, making my nose burn. Part of me wants nothing more than to end her life right here, right now. She's been complicit in Ava's imprisonment, and the thought of her suffering brings a twisted sense of satisfaction.
But I can't. It's rare for
mates to sense severe injury, but it's impossible not to notice your mate's death. Alerting Alexander is out of the question. Grinding my teeth, I turn away from Grace's
unconscious form.
My wolf stirs restlessly, pacing in the confines of my mind as I creep up the stairs. I can't sense anyone except Ava, but I'm not taking chances. The tantalizing scent that grows stronger with each step is torture on my senses.
Ava.
75 Lucas, going in. Vester falls in step behind me as we make our way down the hall, our movements purposeful. He's here to keep me from losing my mind in my mate. The area is secure, one of my men reports through the packlink. We've hidden the bodies from view.
Good.
The last thing we need is for someone to notice the bodies. At last, we reach Ava's room.
Her scent is
overpowering here, a heady mix of honey, vanilla, and something distinctly her own. My wolf strains against his restraints, desperate to claim what's ours. Steeling myself, I reach for the door handle. A blur of movement, and suddenly there's a knife slashing towards my face. I jerk back just in time, feeling the breeze of displaced air past my cheek. My heart thunders and my wolf howls as I come face to face with the woman I've been longing to see. Lucas' scent hits me after I've already tried to murder him. An unmistakable blend of the outdoors, of amber and campfire smoke, of something so uniquely mate that it draws me in even through the pain of our past.
It's him. He's here.
The knife clatters from my trembling hand as every muscle in my body goes lax with relief. I'd been so tense, coiled tight like a spring ready to snap, terrified of losing my life tonight. But now Lucas is here.
He came for me.
Lucas, I breathe out, hope and prayer all in one, the sound barely more than a whisper. My entire body crumples, overworked in its stress. He's really here. I'm not dreaming.
He's not a hallucination. This is real. Real. My mate.
My savior.
10:07. 76 Ava, saved.
Strong arms wrap around me, drawing me in against an embrace both hard and warm, filled with assurance
And yearning.
His hands hold me as if I'm some tender, precious thing, going from my back, up to the back of my head, brushing gently against my hair. He's dropping kisses over the top of my head, against my eyebrows, then my eyes, whispering my name in a ragged chant before crushing me to him once again.
Ava. Ava. Sweet Ava.
You're safe now.
Sure, it's okay. I've got you, Ava.
You're safe now. His voice rumbles, vibrating his chest against my cheek. One hand cradles my head, the other runs soothing lines down my back.
I want to respond.
I want to ask him why he's here.
To thank him for coming. To tell him how terrified I was.
To explain everything. But only a choked sob comes out as all the emotions of the last few days takes over, gripping my body in a cold fingered grip of horror and
distress.
Tears pour down my face, soaking into the fabric of his shirt as I cling to him, as if letting him go means I can never see freedom again. Lucas just holds me closer.
It's all right, sweetheart. Let it out. I'm here now.
No one's going to hurt you again. 76 Ava saved. Sir, we need to move, a shifter I didn't notice. Murmurs from behind him. I want to look at him, but Lucas holds my head firmly against his chest, rubbing me in that soothing rhythm as I try with desperate gasps and sobs to gather some semblance of control. What do you need to bring with you? Lucas asks, and I shake my head.
Nothing.
There's nothing here worth keeping.
Okay. I'm going to carry you, Ava.
We need to go fast, before anyone notices you're gone. I nod, a short, choppy movement of my head, blowing out a shuddering breath, then filling my lungs again.
Another breath out.
He shifts his arms, sliding one under my legs and lifting me as though I weigh no more than a sack of potatoes. I'm too exhausted to feign modesty, or worry if I'm too heavy. I just lean against him, trying to breathe in a way that sounds less wet. 76 Ava saved. Let's go, he says, but he's talking over his shoulder, so I close my eyes and relax against him. As he carries me out of the room, I fight the urge to think about the past, his rejection, my complicated feelings for Clayton, or the tangled web that brought me here. I just want to be a boneless lump in Lucas' arms, soaking in his presence and the promise of freedom. But then a nagging thought tugs at my consciousness, and I jerk slightly in his hold.
Wait, I murmur,
struggling to find my voice. I think there's a tracker in my phone. Lucas doesn't hesitate. He fishes the burner phone out of my pocket and hands it to one of the shifters accompanying us. Without blinking, the strange shifter crushes the device in his hand, destroying any potential tracking device. Next, he produces a small canister and sprays me down with a fine mist. The scent is earthy and familiar, very neutral seeming. This will help conceal your scent for a while, he explains, before handing me a small pill.
And swallow this.
It's a long-lasting scent diffuser that will make it harder for anyone to track.
76 Ava, saved. You by scent.
I obey without question, trusting Lucas and his team implicitly. The pill leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, but I welcome the added protection it provides. It occurs to me that I had so much suspicion when Clayton came to my rescue, but with Lucas, despite our history, I can feel so comfortable. Comfortable enough to allow myself to be drugged. Mate bonds are crazy like that, I guess. With the precautions taken, things move at a clipped pace. Lucas leads the way, his strides purposeful and determined, and the strange shifter with the scent-diffusing drugs is right behind him.
For more appear.
Out of the shadows as we leave the house. The woods envelop us, the darkness broken only by the occasional beam of moonlight filtering through the canopy above. The humid summer air is heavy with the scent of earth and foliage. Our footsteps are muffled by the soft ground, but the snapping of twigs and rustling of leaves betray our passage. I can't smell a single one of them, I realize. These scent diffusers are amazing. 1508. Less than 76 Ava, saved. We move as quickly as stealth allows, weaving through the trees and underbrush. Lucas never falters, his grip on me secure and unwavering. I press my face against his chest, focusing on the steady rhythm of his heartbeat and the reassuring strength of his arms. I should probably tell him I can walk, but my entire body protests at the thought. Property belongs to Novel, D, r/AMA.org. Time seems to blur as we navigate the labyrinth of the forest, putting as much distance as possible between us and the Blackwood territory. The only sounds are their controlled breathing and the whisper of the wind through the branches. Where are we going? I ask, after what feels like hours. Lucas' breathing has never faltered, even while carrying me all this while. White Peak, he answers, his words soft. We have cars. From there, you'll be taken straight to Westwood. I have to stay here. There's agony on his face as he says this, a spasm in his jaw, because we have business with Blackwood. But your safety came first. I nod. I've learned enough to understand that this is war. 76 Ava, saved. I'm not sure how it will all turn out, but I'm just grateful to be out of there. Okay. Can I use your phone? He looks confused, but slows down to grab it out of his pocket and hand it to me, unlocking it before he does. So, I immediately open his messaging app, trying not to read any of his message previews. That would be rude, after all. But I'm startled to see Clayton's name on one of the more recent conversations. Fighting the urge to snoop, I type a message to Lisa, explaining whose phone it is and where they're taking. 1. Me. It takes only a second for her to respond. Lisa, I'll meet you in Granite City. The haunting howls of wolves echo through the night, sending fear deep into my soul. I shudder. The strange shifter with the drugs curses under his breath. They're on the hunt, he says, his voice low and urgent. Lucas' arms tighten as he runs. It's not the most comfortable with all the jostling, but he manages to run while holding me as though my extra burden doesn't affect him at all. How long has it been? Hours? That he's maintained his pace without faltering. I can't help but admire it, even as I worry. It's going to be okay, he murmurs, his tone cold with determination. We pick up the pace, the shadows of the forest seeming to press in around us as we hurry along. The howls grow louder, closer, sending icy tendrils of fear slithering through my veins. 77 Ava, running. How much farther? I ask, my voice a hushed whisper. Lucas' subordinate's response is grim. Too far to be comfortable. There are a few grunts of agreement among the other wolves. We should have shifted. We would be there by now. Lucas just growls. Not an option. The weight of his words settles over me, and I realize with a pang that he knows I can't shift. I swallow hard. How long has he known? It isn't as though it was a secret in our pack. But it still hurts. The howls grow louder still, echoing through the trees, the sound itself nipping at our heels. Anxiety spikes my pulse and I cling to Lucas, drawing strength from his solid presence. Suddenly, a rustling sound comes from our left, and Lucas' head whips around. He signals to the others, and they fan out, forming a protective circle around us. Tension crackles in the air, thick and palpable as we wait. The forest seems to hold its breath with us. Less than 77 Ava, running. Partners in this agonizing moment. Then, a figure emerges from the shadows, a massive wolf, its eyes glowing like embers in the darkness. It snarls, bearing wicked fangs. I tense. But Lucas doesn't flinch. With a fluid motion, he sets me down and steps forward, planting himself between the wolf and me. Stand down, he growls, his voice laced with an unmistakable command. The wolf hesitates, its hackles raised, but something in Lucas' unwavering presence seems to give it pause. For a long tense moment, they regard each other, locked in a silent battle of wills. Then slowly, the wolf's snarl fades, and it lowers its head in a grudging show of submission. Lucas doesn't spare it a second glance. He turns back to me, his expression softening ever so slightly as he scoops me up once more. Just a rogue, he says, like that's nothing. I can run, I say, pushing at his arms until he lets me down. I can't shift, but I can run. I'm fine. Wheel. 1308 novel drama, Orgones copyright this. 77 Ava, running. Probably make better time if you aren't holding me. His face says that he wants to protest, but he thinks better of it. Fine. Let's go. Stay close, Ava. Vester will stay on your other side.
We'll keep you safe. Another howl. I nod. Okay. Vester grimaces. They still haven't caught our trail, but they're getting closer. We're still 5 miles out. Lucas grabs at my hand, squeezing it in reassurance. My lips quirk into a small smile as I squeeze back. I can do this. I have to. As we start running, the ache in my feet from the ill-fitting sneakers is a distant concern. My heart pounds, but not from exertion, not yet. Terror still grips me, its icy tendrils constricting my lungs with every rasping breath. But each footfall on the forest floor kindles a tiny spark of hope within me. Freedom. The word echoes through my mind with every stride, fueling my legs to push harder, faster. The men around me struggle to keep pace, their harsh pants filling the air. But I'm just getting started. 10.0877 Ava running. Pace yourself, Lucas warns, his brow furrowed with concern. I shake my head, unable to spare the breath for a reply. Celine's words ring in my ears, a silent chorus urging me onward. Don't run. She'd made it sound like it would be extraordinary if I did. And it is. I can feel it now, a thrumming beneath my skin, like electricity crackling through my veins. You need to shift, I say, knowing deep inside that I'm right. We'll be faster if you do. Lucas' stride falters, and he grips my arm, pulling me to an abrupt halt. His eyes bore into mine, a kaleidoscope of emotions swirling in their golden depths, disbelief, confusion, worry. For a long moment, we're frozen, the world around us fading into a blur of shadows and silence. It's just us, our ragged breaths intermingling in the scant space between us. Then finally, he nods. 11.08. 77 Ava, running. A flurry of movement erupts around us as the men shed their clothes, tossing them haphazardly to the forest floor. I gather the discarded garments, stuffing them into a backpack one of them had carried, my fingers trembling with a heady mixture of adrenaline and exhilaration. When the last of them has shifted, a chorus of growls and snarls greets me, their wolf forms rippling with coiled power. Lucas meets my gaze once more, his eyes shining with a newfound intensity that sends a thrill through me. He believes me. I run my fingers over his dark fur. He's a magnificent beast, twice as large as the others, with fur like midnight and those golden eyes that are as familiar in his wolf form as they are in his human one. With a sharp nod, I turn and begin to run once more, my body buzzing with an energy I've never felt before. The wolves lope easily at my side, their strides effortlessly matching my pace. And then, something changes. It's like a dam breaking, a torrent of raw power. 77 Ava, running. Surging through me. My steps grow lighter, faster, the ground beneath my feet passing at a rate that should have been impossible. My eyes are sharper, as though it can see everything at once. The thrumming in my veins intensifies, every cell in my body vibrating with a primal force I can't begin to comprehend. I'm still human, but I'm also something more. A breathless laugh escapes me as I pour on the speed, reveling in this strange exhilaration. The wolves streak alongside me, their bodies little more than flickering shadows in my periphery. For the first time in my life, I feel truly alive, more than human. And I'm just getting started. The terror that had gripped me so tightly finally begins to loosen its hold, washed away by the exhilarating rush of my feet pounding against the ground, the world flying past in my periphery. It's a simple rhythm. One foot in front of the other. Vault over an obstacle. Veer to avoid a tree. Novel drama org holds this content. The wind against my skin is harsh, like 1,000 icy whips snapping against my cheeks. But the pain is almost euphoric. My feet pound against the forest floor, each step fueling the fire of freedom burning within me. It's a feeling unlike anything I've ever experienced, raw power, an almost frenetic energy, thrumming through my body with an intensity that steals my breath away. The trees zoom past in blurs of shadow. I can hear the wolves keeping pace beside me, their breaths ragged growls that harmonize with the frantic beat of my heart. My unnatural speed helps me keep 78 Ava, an old enemy. Pace. I'm not faster than they are, but I'm far faster than their human forms. They probably have questions. I don't know how to answer them. But that's for another time. Right now, we need this. There's no fear now, no uncertainty. Only an overwhelming sense of freedom so pure and intoxicating that I want to lose myself in it forever. I am unleashed, unchained, a force of nature given form. My lungs burn with the effort, but I don't slow. Can't slow. This is what it means to be truly alive, to embrace what dwells within me. To hell with being human. Right now, I am so much more. The trees begin to thin, and through the gaps I can see the faint glow of distant lights. Civilization. Safety.
My throat tightens with a sudden surge of emotion, hope, relief, gratitude. I'm going to make it. After everything, I'm finally going to escape this nightmare. A piercing howl shatters the night, closer than before. My heart stutters, but I don't falter. 1300 hours. 78 Ava, an old enemy. I have wolves beside me. Wolves willing to risk their lives by entering enemy territory to find me. The last of the trees falls away, revealing the city of White Peak. An hour's drive has taken much longer on foot. A breathless laugh escapes me as I pour on even more speed, reveling in the rush.
I'm so close. So damn close.
Another howl, this one laced with a chilling resonance that raises the hairs on the back of my neck. The wolves are gaining, closing the distance with every second. I can sense their urgency, their hunger.
They've found us.
I can tell by how Lucas and Vester crowd into me, teeth bared and hackles up. I let the power within me surge, a tidal wave of energy that propels me forward with impossible velocity. The city is closer with every passing heartbeat, the details sharpening. Something slams into me from the side, a massive force that drives the air from my lungs and sends me tumbling across the uneven ground.
I scramble for
Nurchino fingernails gorreling against the dirt and 78 Ava, an old enemy. Rocks as I fight to stop my momentum. The world explodes into snarls and growls, of vicious inhuman noises torn from the vocal cords of wolves. When I finally grind to a halt, I'm breathless and disoriented, the world spinning around me. Twigs and leaves cling to my hair, my palms stinging from the impact. I blink tears from my eyes, struggling to make sense of what just happened. There are shadows everywhere, glints of white teeth in the darkness, and eerie shrieks of pain interspersed between the rumbles. Fur and fangs clash in a frenzied melee, a tangle of snarling beasts. Their forms are indistinguishable from one another. Massive jaws snap mere inches from vulnerable flesh, saliva flying in glistening arcs. The ground trembles with the force of their collisions, each impact punctuated by deep guttural growls that reverberate through my bones. The scent of earth and rage hangs thick in the air, mingling with the metallic tang of blood. In the chaos, I catch fleeting glimpses of familiar wolf faces. But they are mere flashes, lost in an instant as
AG.
78 Ava, an old enemy. The battle rages on. And then I have something far worse to worry about. I scramble backward, my hands clawing at the earth as a familiar wolf emerges from the shadows, its golden eyes locked on me with an intensity that chills me to the core. The raw hunger in that gaze is unmistakable. A predator sizing up its prey. All the power that had surged through my veins moments ago has evaporated, leaving me feeling weak and sluggish in its wake. The euphoria of my newfound freedom has been replaced by a visceral terror that seizes my lungs, making each breath a struggle. Todd Mason's wolf is an average-sized wolf, but still menacing to someone who can't shift. I've seen him hundreds of times through the years. I'd never mistake him for another. He stalks toward me with a menacing silence that's somehow more terrifying than any snarl or growl. The air around him is filled with the energy of barely restrained violence, a promise of brutality in past and
present.
13.00. 78 Ava, an old enemy. There's a predatory gleam in his wolf-yellow eyes that seems to strip away every last shred of my humanity, reducing me to nothing more than a trembling rabbit for dinner. Terror dries my mouth as he prowls ever closer. If he were human, I could envision the arrogant smirk that would be curving his lips right now, the wild look in his eyes that mirrors that of his wolf so accurately. The rough bark of a tree collides with my back, halting my retreat. I'm trapped. Lucas is fighting off a number of wolves.
I can't call out to him.
The sounds of the battle raging around us fade into a distant murmur, the world narrowing to this single horrifying moment. Todd pauses, his muzzle wrinkling as he scents the air. My fear has probably soaked this area in its scent. Something he's always delighted in. A low rumble builds in his chest, a sound that reverberates through my bones and sets my nerves on edge with frittering
panic.
I want to scream, to cry out for Lucas or Vester or anyone who can save me from this nightmare, but the 13.09. 78 Ava, an old enemy. Terror has robbed me of my voice.
I'm mute. Helpless.
His muscles bunch, his haunches tensed as he prepares to pounce, and I finally regain some of my
senses. I'm not helpless. I'm not powerless. I can defend myself.
I've trained for this. I am not a victim of this circumstance. I slide my hand into my pocket, willing my fingers to stop shaking as I grab the pocket knife I'd placed into it hours before. For those of you who have bought my privilege tiers, thank you. Thank you for enjoying this story with me. Thank you for following Ava in her chronic misadventures.
Lena Leah.
Todd's wolf form prowls closer, his hackles bristling with menace. His eyes burn with a feral hunger that sends tremors through me.
Anticipation hums in the air between us.
The tree trunk is rough against my back as I use it for support, forcing my body to its feet. The cool weight of the pocket knife in my hand keeps me centered.
I will not cower.
The mysterious energy from before, that primal force filling my veins, is gone. It's a fleeting whisper of the past, eluding my grasp no matter how desperately I
search for it.
All I have is my training and the small knife I'd stolen from home. I flip open the blade with a flick of my thumb, the soft click lost amidst the snarls and growls of the ongoing battle around us.
At least, I hope it's lost.
I know wolf hearing is keen, but I don't know its limitations. Todd's lips peel back in a vicious snarl revealing.
1310.
79 Ava, fighting back.
Yellowed canines.
It figures that even his wolf's teeth would need some work. His breath had always smelled like those tuna sandwiches he eats. He lunges, a blur of ruddy fur and gnashing jaws. Instinct has me diving to the side, scrabbling for purchase on the uneven ground. He whirls to face me as I roll to my knees, gripping the knife tightly as I swipe at his muzzle. The blade catches a superficial level of skin and fur, drawing a thin line of crimson that only seems to enrage him further. A deafening snarl rips from his throat and I dash to the side, my heart pounding in frantic rhythm. The rush of blood overcomes all sound in the area, a static thudding in my ears. His jaws snap shut inches from my face. Nausea churns in my belly, courtesy of his rancid breath. I lash out with the knife again, the blade slicing through fur and flesh. A guttural yelp tears from his throat, but his momentum carries him forward, ramming into me with all the force of a large adult wolf and an entire lifetime of anger issues. Air whooshes from my lungs as I hit the ground. The
1310.
79 Ava, fighting back. Knife clattering from my grasp. Stars explode across my vision before it fades, just for a moment. It all comes back in a rush. I'm pinned beneath Todd's paws, pressing down on my shoulders with crushing force. His hot breath washes over me in waves of putrid stench, his muzzle inches from my face. I thrash and writhe, but his claws are like miniature daggers digging into my skin, immovable and
unyielding.
With a burst of adrenaline-fueled strength, I manage to free one arm and lash out blindly, my nails raking across his muzzle and smacking against one eye. I don't hit my mark, but it startles him. He rears back with a snort, giving me a moment of opportunity. Content copyrighted by NovelDrama.org. I roll to the side, scrambling for the knife as he lunges
at me again.
Leaves and dirt get in my way as my fingers scrabble for the knife, its silver blade glinting in the moonlight.
I'm bleeding.
The scent of my blood mingles with the earthy aroma of the forest floor, a sickly metallic tang that pushes me to move faster. 79 Ava, fighting back. Faster, damn it. I snatch the knife and whirl onto my back just as Todd crashes down where I'd been lying just moments before. His jaws snap shut with a resounding clack. Flecks of spittle and foam coat my cheeks. Clutching the knife with a white-knuckled grip, I lash out wildly, the blade slicing a shallow gash across his ear, his neck. A guttural yelp rips from his throat as he snaps at my arm, ripping skin as I dash backward, scrambling to my feet. There's no escape route.
No other weapons.
The other wolves are still involved in their own struggles several feet away.
How many have set upon us? Too many to count.
Did the entire pack make it here?
But I can't worry about them. I have to deal with Todd.
He lunges again, his body slamming into mine like a fucking freight train. I stumble, gasping for air as his claws rake across my abdomen, tearing through fabric and flesh alike.
Agony.
1417. 79 Ava, fighting back. Setting my teeth against the pain, I stab into anything I can, wild jabs of my hand. I hit something, because blood coats my hilt and my grip slips time and time again. He shoves me to the ground with a wide movement of his head and upper body somehow, and I backpedal, my heel catching on a gnarled root. I sprawl back with a startled scream, and he's on me again. I'm in no position to dodge. I have no time to think. I raise an arm to protect my face as I stab low and blind, grunting as his weight slams me into the ground beneath him. My fingers scrabble against the knife as I yank it out and stab again and again, even as he snaps and bites at my face, my shoulders in between shrieks. Todd's body shudders violently, his blood coating my hands in slick streaks of crimson. A strangled whine escapes his muzzle before he finally goes limp, his full weight collapsing atop me. I gasp for air, no longer suffocated by his rancid breath. There's no breath at all.
Only blood and earth. 1310.
C. 79 Ava, fighting back. My arms tremble and I leave the knife stuck in him. Somewhere, almost hidden by his fur. There's so much blood. I must have hit something important. Luck. Thank the moon goddess for luck. He remains motionless, the only sound a faint gurgling as blood bubbles from one of the many wounds I've managed to inflict. Many of them shallow, some of them deeper. I'm bathed in the last remnants of his life. Adrenaline ebbs, leaving me hollow and shaking. My chest heaves with ragged breaths as I struggle for air beneath his weight, but the fear is gone. I'm a blank slate, an Ava without fear or relief, staring up at the canopy of branches above, the moonlight filtering through in soft, silvery beams. The night sky is gorgeous, a blanket of stars, peaceful and ignorant of the terror hidden in its shadows. It's over. I'm alive. A tremor racks my frame. I killed him. 1310. 79 Ava, fighting back. Bile rises in my throat, burning like acid, but I swallow it back with a convulsive shudder. Now isn't the time for hysterics. I have to focus. Have to stay alert and ready for whatever comes next. Except I can't. I have nothing left in me. There's a good chance I'll be uploading only one chapter a day for a while as I work on rebuilding my stockpile. The stench of blood and death clings to my skin, my clothes, invading my senses with its coppery tang. Yet the moon spreads its light over my face, blessing me with its ethereal glow. It's surreal, an entire world away from the violence. I laugh as my mind wanders into memories of science class. Of planets and space. The moon truly is an entire world away. 30 whole worlds, in fact, would fit between here and the bright satellite that decorates our night. Thanks, Mr. Finnegan. I always did like science. The dead weight pinning me to the ground and obstructing a lungful of air is yanked off me, just as strong arms encircle me, pulling me upright. Lucas. His human face swims into view, those striking golden eyes filled with concern as he looks me over. I can see his lips moving, but his words are muffled as if reaching me through a thick fog. It's not until his calloused palm cups my cheek that the 1311. 80 Ava moonlight and peace. Numbness shatters. A strangled cry escapes my lips as agony lances through my abdomen. All my wounds come to life in an instant, informing me of their presence. Ava? Ava, can you hear me? Lucas's voice breaks. Through the screams of my injuries, his tone laced with urgency. Answering is impossible, so I give a weak nod, my gaze flickering to the gruesome scene behind him. Lifeless wolves litter the forest floor, their bodies twisted and mangled. The price of freedom. Even knowing that they wouldn't reciprocate the sentiment, their lives weigh heavy on my soul. We need to move, Lucas says, still supporting me. Can you walk? The world spins with every movement I make, so I just blink at him. I can't shake my head. If I do, it just might fall off. Without another word, Lucas scoops me into his arms, cradling me against his bare chest as he rises to his feet. BD. 80 Ava, moonlight and peace. Wait, I croak. Clothes. No time. Howls break the relative peace after so much death, and Lucas tenses. His grip on me holds tight as he breaks into a run, his long strides eating up the distance. One of their wolves is missing, and a pang of fresh guilt hits my heart. An innocent. Someone who was never involved in my abuse. He should still be here. Does he have a mate? Family? Friends? God, does he have pups who will wonder why daddy's not coming home? Tears come hot and steady against my cheeks, burning and stinging against fresh wounds. Not far, Lucas grunts, his breath coming in harsh pants. We need to hurry. 11. 80 Ava moonlight and peace. Someone must have asked him a question. Pack links are so convenient, and yet I've never had access to 1. The only person to enter my mind has been Celine, and for a brief moment, Clayton's wolf. Even after she appeared, I never had a link with my pack. Lucas dashes through the city naked, followed by wounded wolves. Seeing over his shoulder, I can see the bloody prints left by foot and paw. They're injured, and still running. For me. My heart aches more than the wounds shrieking in agony with every jarring step Lucas takes. He slows as we approach a white SUV, and the other. Wolves shift as they come to a standstill. Vester swears in frustration as he digs through the backpack he'd carried from the ambush site, hunting for the keys. It takes a minute or two, as howls rend the air. The telltale unlocking clicks have them all breathing in. 13.11. 80 Ava, moonlight and peace. Relief, and Lucas sets me in the back gently. Vester throws on a pair of pants and hops into the seat beside me, apologizing as he shoves a shirt against my abdomen, soaking up the blood flowing freely. It hurts like fucking hell, but I try not to whine about
1. It.
It would be pathetic to whine when they lost one of
Their own.
Lucas slides into the driver's seat, fully dressed within seconds, a talent most shifters learn after a few naked shift backs, and the SUV roars to life with all the energy of a new car. The world blurs in front of my eyes as Lucas drives through the quiet streets. My head lolls against the seat, boneless now that I'm in a safe place. Beside me, one of the unfamiliar shifters rummages through a medical kit, retrieving supplies to tend to my wounds. The other two ran to a different car, I think. I can't really remember anymore. Everything's a little fuzzy. I think I might be melting into a puddle of Ava goo, because nothing seems to be working right now. This might sting a little, the unrecognizable voice. R.O. Ava Moonlight and Peace. Warns, his voice gentle as he dabs at my face with an antiseptic wipe. I hiss, the sensation of sharp prickles and burns intensifying the throbbing ache of my cheeks. Despite the pain, I force myself to remain still, not wanting to make his task any more difficult. Focusing on the astringent scent of alcohol keeps me centered and present, even as my mind keeps trying to run away into a hazy white world devoid of sensation. In the front seat, Lucas lets out a low, rumbling growl. Vester growls in return. Keep your eyes on the road, or pull over and let me drive, he snaps. You need to get those mating instincts under control. My brows furrow in surprise at Vester's blunt tone. I've never heard anyone speak to an alpha that way. Alpha Renard would have never allowed a subordinate such liberties. As the nameless shifter continues cleaning my wounds, I study him through half-lidded eyes. He moves with a practiced efficiency, his touch gentle yet firm, and I'm struck by the care he takes in tending to content copyrighted by noveldrama.org.
80 Ava, Moonlight and Peace.
Me despite our lack of familiarity. Even in my loosey-goosey mental state of the moment, I can appreciate that. Thank you, I murmur, my voice hoarse and strained.
Is it mine? It should be.
I can feel it coming out of my
throat.
He pauses, meeting my gaze with a small, reassuring smile.
You're welcome.
Just try to relax, okay? We'll have you patched up in no time. I nod, but I can't really feel the action.
Maybe I don't. Nod.
Exhaustion pulls and tugs at me, cajoling me into oblivion. The adrenaline that had fueled me during the confrontation in the woods faded long ago, leaving me drained and aching in its wake. As the car continues its journey, I find myself drifting in and out of consciousness, my mind replaying the events of the night in a hazy loop. The sound of howls echoes in my ears, mingling with the metallic scent of blood that still clings to my skin. Every so often, I startle into consciousness, striking out with my hands in panic. Vester sports a new bruise.
80 Ava, Moonlight and Peace.
On his cheek for my overachievement in self-defense, and the new shifter keeps one eye closed from the irritation in his eye when my nail scratched it. I apologize both times, but Lucas tells me not to worry.
About it. It's fine, Ava.
Your body's been under a lot of stress. It'll take you some time to realize you're safe, Vester says with a smile. Lucas growls again, and Vester snarls, fucking drive alpha.
View all. H.